two of this awesomeness that we've concocted for you when it comes to doing webinars. Webinars are only like the biggest thing for every big launch you've ever seen in the entirety of the internet. So it's kind of an important deal to nail. And the webinar is awesome because it's really a microcosm of everything you need to be good at marketing because it has an offer, it has education, it has driving traffic to it, it has automation, it has scale. And hey, listen, you know that kind of new little thing that might go somewhere one day called AI? Yeah, we're, we're most utilizing AI for webinars. And so Anik is going to jam on you for that. Now, this is really cool. What's happened here is the best way that I can introduce Anik is I have never seen such powerful results from advertising a webinar and driving traffic to it than what Anik has done for this webinar. So if you were on last week, we had over 4,000 people registered, I believe, somewhere around there. We had at any point in time 800, 900 people live. I don't know how many total unique live showed up, but it was pushing around 1,000. It was a significant amount of people, especially when you consider the subject matter here. So for the niche of a webinar on webinars in the short time frame that we were constrained within, and here's the secret, this is not the main show. This is Anik and I kicking this off because we're going to automate the whole thing. Because we're not going to do these webinars all the time. That's old school model. We're going to do the webinar, lock it in, and scale it over the long haul, create an asset, which is incredible. So I've worked with all the best guys in the space, and I have never seen anybody do what Anik just did in the last 2 weeks. So if you want to know how to scale, how to fill webinars with traffic, how to drive the automation machine, I couldn't think of anybody better to learn than Anik. I've known Anik for over a decade now. We go that far back. I've known him before I've known some of my own children because I knew him before I had those children. And there's one commonality with Anik and I is that we always find a way to be on the top. And we've been on the top for over a decade. So getting there is one thing, staying there is another thing. And so we have been able to work together throughout the years in various capacities and done very well together. And this is the first meeting of the minds where we've combined our superpowers. It's like Batman and Superman working together to save the world. So I gave you conversion. Now Anik is going to give you automation and traffic. We're going to show you how this all connects with AI in this new experimental format that we're jamming in here today, where it's a value first, pitch second style webinar. And so buckle up, settle in, focus, be active in the chat. And with that said, Anik, the floor is yours, my friend.
All right, man. Thank you very much. What's up, everybody? Welcome to part two of this series. Now, look, I need a lot of engagement. All right. So I got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old at home. I don't sleep. And this is an evening webinar when it's happening live. So I am going to ask you guys to bring your energy so that I can get that energy. And also, I'm about to do something I've never done before. This webinar style, I'm on the record. Our AV director is right there. I was like, man, I'm a little nervous about this. Well, I'm just giving away some of my best and all of my best. And here's the other thing. I'm going to touch into a lot of things today that are very advanced. And I really grappled with this. Do I do it or do I not do it? And I was like, well, we are the Webinar Mastery Academy. And mastery means mastering your trade, which I can't live up to unless I share the best of the best. What you're about to learn today has taken me, Scout's Honor, okay, $20 million in paid traffic to test and fine tune. This is why I'm like, this is such an unfair advantage for everybody that's doing the game right now. Like, this sucks. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of what we're putting out because it's an unfair advantage. However, I'm also equally excited to be able to bring this to you. So I grappled with the idea of, do I do this or do I keep it super simple? And I went with the, no, I'm going to give everything I've got. So there are parts here where I'm going to need you to acknowledge. I'm going to need you to, I'm going to need you to trust me. There's also some parts today that I'm going to share that, let's just face it, are not relevant to you right now. See, Jason's presentation, which you've got to go back and watch part one if you didn't watch it yet, it's incredible. That's relevant to every single person that is on this webinar because it is to help you increase your conversions or to create your webinar. Very powerful for everybody. My stuff is what kicks in. It's the ecosystem around the webinar. So assuming you got that webinar, now we're going to put that thing, we're just going to put it on nitros. We're going to put it on steroids. And I'm going to share with you how I scaled it to insane numbers when everybody else is out there saying, oh, my conversions are down, my show rate is down, webinars suck, I'm losing money, I can't do paid traffic. And yet here I am breaking all of those thresholds, but it's not by accident. It's not even by good marketing. That's the other thing I got to tell you. Everything you're about to learn today isn't good marketing. It's systems, procedures, and it's math. Like literally everything I talk about today is math. Okay. So I need to see, you guys good? Are you excited about that? I chose the testing model. I chose to come out here and do something that I've not done before, where I'm going to overshare, share a lot of advanced information, literally leave no stone unturned that I can think of. And my goal here is to tell you what I learned after $20 million in ad spend. And then my goal is to present you with an opportunity to work with Jason and I. And to those of you who it's a great fit, you'll do it, right? And my goal and Jason's goal was we wanted to share with you a small dose of what amazingness you're about to get. So yes, you're going to learn a ton today. And yes, I have an offer to make for you. All right. It's the same offer Jason made last webinar. I'll make it again. And yes, I hope you join us. And yes, we have killer bonuses. And yes, it's a killer offer. And no, it's not going to be for everybody. Okay, so can I get a loud yes in the chat if we agree on all of that? We've reached agreement on you're excited about my choice and you're excited to hear about the offer and give it a fair thought, give it an absolute open mind. And all of this is now in the open, transparently, no tricks, no gimmicks, no manipulation, none of that bullshit. We are just going to have a good time and we're going to learn. All right. Yeses are pouring in. We did turn off the chat so that you guys can't see each other's chats because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people on. It's too distracting. With that said, meet my little friend over here on the side, which you can't see. It is my scribble pad. I'm going to use the hell out of it today. It's my digital whiteboard. So I'm going to hop between PowerPoint and whiteboard. We'll see how this little experiment goes. So without further ado, everybody, let's dive in. All right, I'm going to share my screen and let's see. All right, perfect. Do you want me to share the screen though, right? Like I gotta for the AV. I got it. Okay, got it. All right, everyone, can you see my screen? Can I get a 1 in the chat if you can see my screen? 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. All right, awesome. Guys, let me ask you a question. Very simple question. Did Jason blow your freaking mind last week? Let's let Jason see it. Did he blow your mind? Now, if you haven't watched the first one, don't worry. We'll send out, you have another about 4 or 5 days to catch up on both of these replays. That was some of the most powerful training on how to write a webinar that I've ever seen. And the fact that he's brought AI into it to make it much simpler on everybody to get a working model up, which then through repetition, you can finesse and fine tune and make better, is just incredible. It's a gift beyond gifts. All right. And you know, you should join what Jason and I put together. I'm partial, but I'll talk more about that. Now, if you're still on the fence and you're still wondering, hey, is this program for me? That's what today is about. So today, what I want you to understand is, like I said before, it's about everything around the webinar. One of the common, let's talk about some of the things you might be hearing, and I'll actually validate it. So you're hearing the message of people saying webinars are dead. Webinars don't work anymore. My show rate is down. My conversion rate is down, right? My ad costs are through the roof. My funnel's not working anymore. Now, you expect me to say that none of that is true. I'm going to throw a curveball at you, and I'm going to actually tell you all of it is true. 100%. For those, with a caveat, for those who are still doing the game the way it was played 5 years ago. If you haven't adapted and changed your ways, I'll give you a prime example. So Jason went over his webinar formula. And one of the biggest changes he spoke about was listen, there was a day 5-10 years ago, we would use manipulative sales tricks, and that's what I call them because that's what they are, on a webinar to get people to buy, and people would buy. You can't do that anymore today. Just in the last 10 years, 5 years, people have grown up. So now it's flipped. It's literally the opposite. You have to be blatantly transparent, and you have to reverse the process, and you have to throw everything that they're doing, that the rest of the market's doing, that they've learned from the gurus to manipulate and to do all these little things. You got to do the opposite. All right, so are webinar conversions dead? No, but is the formula the same? No, you got to change the formula. Now, let me come and talk to you about what we're going to share today. A webinar, albeit the most important anchor stone of a webinar funnel, of course, is only one part of it. And where I find people completely failing to scale webinars in a freedom enticing way is that they don't understand any of the ecosystem that goes around the webinar. And when you're spending in our business at one point $1 million a month on paid traffic, even a 1% move is huge. So we were forced, because not only were we spending $1 million a month, we were swimming with sharks. We were up against some of the most aggressive marketers on the planet. And so we had to figure out, how do we beat them? How do we win without, succumbing to their games? And that's where we came up with this ecosystem that you're about to learn today. So I'm going to share with you the 5 profit levers to maximizing your monetization. And it's so incredibly important. And you're about to have a massive mindset shift about how you approach your webinar funnel. Everything you're about to learn on this presentation, I promise you, you have not learned anywhere else. There is no one else that is teaching this. And if they are, they learned it from me. I know that sounds a little arrogant, but I'm just telling you, if they are, they learned it from me, because I am literally the person who created these strategies from millions of dollars in investment. So, of course, it goes without saying, I don't have any big numbers for you guys. I don't share any of my numbers. I don't share any of my campaigns, the millions they've made, or none of that nonsense. I don't want to do it because I don't want you to think for a minute that that's the result you are going to immediately have. Jason and I both got a start. My first webinar had probably 70, 80 people on it. My first time I ever spoke on stage, or my first webinar, were total flops. There is a process to this, but Jason and I had to figure it out on our own. You have some amazing places to start. We are an educational resource. We don't promise or guarantee any results. A lot goes into the campaign, and things can go either way. And you should absolutely proceed with caution and never do anything that you're uncomfortable with. Can I get a yes in the chat, please? It's very important to me that you understand this is a business. Give me a yes in the chat. Yes? Come on, I want to see a bunch of them. All right, thank you. All right, now let's continue. So a little bit about me, right after I said I'm not going to show you my big numbers. This is for credibility. All right. So I've sold over 240,000 courses since 2015. It's literally the size of a city. My record 3-year window, we did almost $65 million. In 1 year, my record year, we invested over $10 million in paid traffic. I've had over 623,000 webinar registrations from just paid traffic. My organic game is lately on fire, millions and millions of views. I've hired the best team. I've sold products from $1 to 150,000. Actually, now that's 300,000. I've sold all price ranges. The big number that's not on here, the number that I'm super proud of, that I can substantiate, is using webinars. Using webinars, guys. I have sold 56,000 customers at $1,000 or more. Am I saying you're going to do that? Hell no. It's taken me 20 plus years. But I just want you to process that math for one moment. 56,000 customers. So you damn well know we've tested a ton of them. We've tested a ton of these systems, right? Christopher says I'm one of them. And that's what I want to be able to share with you. Now, why did I just share those big numbers with you? Pure credibility. That's it. For those of you who may not know me, just wanted you to know you're not just listening to another person who's rehashing a bunch of regurgitated content. I've created and invented this because of time and and mistakes, by the way. Tons of battle scars. Don't get me started on all the battle scars that we have from it. All right, now here's something you've not heard before. Your webinar, and I can back this number up, by the way, this is data proven. Your webinar, your actual webinar, the live webinar you do accounts for only about a half of your sales in a campaign. So when you're doing a campaign, like right now, Jason and I were in the middle of a campaign, I would call it. This Webinar Mastery Academy. We have a campaign. Jason did his webinar. I'm doing my webinar. We're going to have some replays. We're going to do a closeout on Friday. And I'm here to tell you that Jason's webinar, and we'll test this. We'll see. But Jason's webinar live will have accounted for 50, maybe 40 to 50% of our eventual total sales from the campaign. What that tells me is that where everyone in the market focuses all of their energy and effort means they're being about half as efficient. So their campaigns are generating half the revenue and sales that they could be generating if they went and put these few things into action. First and foremost, the registration process, not your registration page, not your registration page, the registration process. We're going to go over that. I'm going to share with you some really cool tricks to get your registration working way better. Number two, of course, significantly important, attendance. Many people are out there right now talking about how their attendance is down. I hear you. Not really an issue I'm facing, but I changed my systems. I work harder. I do more things than the person next to me, and that's why my attendance is looking great. As a matter of fact, my attendance got better because the people that are showing up to my webinars using what I teach you today are a hell of a lot more qualified. A hell of a lot more qualified. All right. Number three, the webinar itself. I'm not going to spend much time on that today. We did an entire freaking 4-hour training last week on that. Go watch the replay. Number four, something we're going to talk a lot about today is the extension. Hold that word. This will blow your mind. This one thing alone added 30% to our funnels. 30% additional sales because of the extension. Last but not least, the evergreen. So where do you think Jason and I are going to take this whole Webinar Mastery Academy? See, Jason and I are doing this live right now. We're getting a feel for it. We're getting a test out there. We're watching the chats. We're optimizing, making our webinars better. We're going to probably do it live one more time, one more live campaign. And then after that, we're going to evergreen it. So the real ultimate goal, the mecca of webinars, is to go to evergreen, because that's where you can automate. You can drive traffic every day, get sales every single day, and you can truly make it a big part of your business. However, I'm going to share some hard truths with you today about how to make evergreen work. And the reason I say hard truths is because I'm going to come out and tell you the stuff that the other quote unquote gurus won't tell you. But I'm just going to tell you what you need to know, because that way you can have success with it. All right. So these are the 5 stages of a profitable webinar sales machine. Who's still with me? Give me a 5 in the chat if you're still with me. I told you I need a lot of engagement because, I'm tired. I'm not actually. Guys, I'm hopped up on energy if you can't tell. All right, we got 5s coming on in. Love it. All right. Now, there's people who tell you webinars are dead. I keep repeating this, please. I love it. I love them saying that crap, because the more they spread that bullshit, the more Jason and I can come in here and dominate. They're not dead. You got to change your system. I'm going to reveal exactly how that works today. All right, here are the 5 levers. Go ahead and take a picture of this, write these down. We're going to go through them in far more detail. I got my scribble pad out. I'm going to dive right in, by the way. Notice how I ain't doing no story. I'm not giving you my rags to riches, blah, blah. I don't know. Just trust me. I was once not very rich. I'm now very successful. Bunch of shit happened in between. I found webinars and I'm good at them. All right. Number 1, I call it data manipulation. All right. Number 2, I call it pixel manipulation. I use the word manipulation on purpose because it's fun, because we tell you like not to manipulate during a webinar, which we really don't, as you'll notice. But data and pixel, so important. Nobody talks about this. Not one person. Number 3, we're going to talk about your funnel. The actual funnel. I'm going to give you some of the coolest hacks that every single one of you can apply the minute you're building your funnels. And I'm here to tell you, I know I'm not supposed to say stuff like this, but I feel so confident about this that if you follow my funnel extension, you will make more sales, period. There is no and or if, and you'll see why. It's undefiable. If you do your funnel with my extension methodology versus without it, I pretty much can guarantee you will make a lot more sales. So what you learned today is already going to show its ROI for you. Number 4, we're going to talk about your evergreen. Two of the most important components in an evergreen funnel that we found after spending $20 million on paid traffic, it came down to 2 things. I will not launch an evergreen funnel ever without these 2 things. By the way, that stands true even for the offer that Jason and I are doing right now. Even with this offer, I will not launch the evergreen probably until September or mid-September because I need these 2 things to be locked in, and I'm going to share why. And number 3, we're going to talk about something called a MAC advantage. Oh man, this one has made me millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. I can't wait to share this with you. The MAC advantage. All right. You guys ready to dive in? Give me a ready. Let's dive right into profit lever number 1. Data manipulation for the win. This is a very simple one. We're going to start with something that's easy. However, the entire remainder of this webinar, the entire 4 other profit levers that I get into tie back to this one. So this is arguably the most important one. By data manipulation, what I'm simply speaking of is listen, there are 2 worlds in the webinar game, and you get to pick whichever one you want to go into. There's no right or wrong, and there's no judgment. And we at Webinar Mastery Academy, Jason and I, we can support you in both. The first choice you get to make is, hey, listen, I live a lifestyle business. I want to make some good money. I'm going to do a webinar live here and there with my list, with my affiliates. It is what it is. You know, that's cool. Great, do that. But then I hear so many people that are like, Anik, how did you do $3-4 million a month at one point? Again, my numbers, not in any way, it was very difficult to get to. But how did I get to that? How am I at a point now where I can scale webinar funnels so fast? Well, in that situation, you have to evolve who you are as a marketer. There is no and, ifs, or buts. You cannot outsource this particular aspect of it. I'm sorry. This has to be something you at least understand, and then you can outsource it. And that is, do you know your numbers? Like right now, I can tell you, we spent $25,000 on paid traffic promoting this series. Our average cost per webinar registration was right around $5, which is insane right now. I don't know how the hell we did this on a topic as specific as webinars, but we did it. And that was the numbers. Webinar show rate. We had 4,000 people registered. We had pretty much 1,000 unique people come through on the last webinar, 25% show rate. Webinar conversion rates. We converted last webinar, by the time we pitched, we had roughly around 800 people. We converted 80, like right around 80-ish sales. We had a 10% conversion rate. We've since gone and added about 26 more sales. I can't make this stuff up, guys. I know my numbers to the T, and I'm giving you this live example for a reason. How much have you made, do you make from your customers in 30 days, 60, and 90? I don't know that data yet because I don't have it yet, but I will. You damn well can bet I will. And what is your lifetime customer value? So when we get someone in our system that says, hey, Anik, Jason, I'm interested in learning about webinars. I want to know what the hell that person is worth to me lifetime. And what do I define as lifetime? In my business, I define lifetime as 6 months. All right, because I'm in a shorter window. There are other companies that define lifetime as years. For us, it's 6 months. So I will know what my customer is worth to me at day 7, at day 14, at day 30, 60, 90, and then 6 months. And based off of that data, I make a lot of my decisions. And now you can already probably start to tell how that gives me this massive unfair advantage because I do not look at my webinar funnel anymore in a compressed window. If I look at my webinar in a compressed window, I am going to lose. That is a losing battle from the get-go. I'm done. In today's market, you're done. I love those posts that we see on Facebook. How many of you have ever seen those posts where someone's like, I got a 589% ROI on my ads? And they post that, they post their thing where they show like cost per sale of like 17 cents and all that nonsense. I'm exaggerating. How many of you, give me a yes right now in the chat. How many of you have ever seen those kinds of posts? All right. Right now, come on, give me a yes if you. I know you've seen them. If you live on Facebook, you have seen some idiot marketer put that stuff out there. Yes is pouring in. Guys, do you know what they're doing? So said I make posts like that. All right, you know what they're doing though? Talking about a really tiny audience, a retargeting audience. That shit won't scale, period. Period. And we talk about scale here. I don't care what you're doing with that retargeting audience of 1,500 people that love you, that includes your mother and your grandmother and your aunt and your uncle. No, I'm talking about the masses. And I'm sorry, that just doesn't work anymore. So the data side, understanding what to expect. Now, problem is this. This is where you're going to start to realize how much of a webinar funnel is purely just mindset. It's just understanding some hard truths. So when you see all of those messages, you begin to think that that is what you should be receiving as well. So you roll your funnel out, you don't get those numbers, and you shut it down thinking, damn, I'm failing because other people are getting these numbers, so I'm not doing something right. When the reality is you might be sitting at the perfect spot and your numbers might be superbly right. And that's what we're going to go over here. I'm going to teach you that. So one of the biggest things you need to understand, one of the biggest differences that's taken place between 5 years, 10 years ago and now is more and more there's a lot of noise, right? Unfortunately, in today's day and age, you are not the only person doing webinars now. In your industry, there will be many people doing webinars. Even in some of the most obscure niches now, there are people doing webinars. Now, internationally, it's been a big thing. But even like, for example, I happen to know the India market very well. Well, guess what? There's a gazillion people now in India doing webinars too. This thing is taking off like wildfire, which you might think is a bad thing. For someone like me and Jason, I don't care because of the things we utilize. But it does change the psychology and the process with which a buyer buys. We're also in this weird economy. Okay, I call it a conflicted economy. I'm not going to say we're in a recession. I'm not going to say we're in a boom. It's different based on who you talk to. So it's a conflicted economy. There are some people, and what happens when there's confliction is that there's lack of certainty. And when there's lack of certainty, the common human behavior is to slow down and take a step back. You ever heard why we say, don't ever give people too many choices, right? If you ever go to a Cheesecake Factory and you see the massive amount of options of menu, I freeze. I don't know what I want. I kind of want that. I kind of want this. Maybe I want that. Maybe I want this. Waitress comes over. I'm like, give me an extra few minutes, right? That's not good. I go to Five Guys and I'm like, don't want a cheeseburger or a hamburger or a hot dog, right? Better yet, you go to another place and it's just like you get the one thing. I go to like a taco stand that's, it's like you get a taco. What do you want, beef or chicken? Boom, boom, boom. They move like fast. Well, that's the same psychology that's happening right now. The reason we say don't give a consumer too many choices is because when presented with a lot of options, it creates conflict. Conflict creates uncertainty, which creates a step back. And so right now that's happening for people. When they are on your webinar or on anyone's webinar, there is a little bit of that, let me step back and think about it. I'll ask you an honest question. I'll read out the names. Don't worry, I'm not holding you to anything. How many of you right now are seriously considering enrolling in Webinar Mastery Academy, but are just, paused? You're just thinking about it. Give me a me right now, if that's you. Okay? I'll make a point here. Christopher, Bev, all right? Don't worry, I'm not going to read your full name. Renee, Andrew, George, William, KD, Hassan, Carl, Lekraj, Asante, Laquana, Ronit. Who else? Corey, all right? Kuop, Nick, Renee. I mean, we got still people just coming in. Now, here's the interesting thing. Chuck, Victor, they're still coming in. You are here. You trust Jason and I. You've already watched one of Jason's webinar. You already believe in this. You already know it's amazing. Yet you remain parked for a multitude of reasons. That's the average consumer right now. It's totally fine. Now, here's how we could have handled this. And just think for a minute, going to your own psyche. Jason and I could have simply ended it at that webinar that we did live last week, given you a 2-3 day replay period, done a closeout, and we'd be out. But instead, we changed the way we deliver this funnel to you. We changed the way we deliver this message to you, and we have extended it, and we've given you some more time. How many of you right now, give me a 1 right now, if you feel like by doing so, we will have given more people an opportunity to take that journey in their mind and arrive at a purchase decision? Give me a 1 right now if you genuinely believe that that's so. Now start to understand the psychology of how we're winning in this game, okay? And how I'm going to get you to start winning in this game. Because here is the thing. There are 2 steps to a conversion outside, of course, of the webinar. Remember, I'm not talking about anything to do with the webinar. We're talking about the ecosystem around the webinar. There's the attraction, right? Great. We're going to talk about how to do great ads today. I'm going to reveal some of my best ads hacks for you. We're going to talk about the registration process. We're going to talk about getting people in the door. But that's all they are. They're in the door. Okay, I'll ask another question. Give me a 2 right now in the chat if this is the first time you're ever watching a presentation from me. You didn't really know who I was until you showed up today. I'm actually kind of genuinely curious. We got Andy, Bev, Luke, Kelvin, Juan, Gurnur, Holly, Michael, Vinay, Sid, Norman, B, Sylvia, Karen, Joseph. Holy crap. Riaz, Danny, Moniva, Deepak. Look at this. Guys, Aman, the list keeps going on. And yet I've been doing this stuff for 23 years. And yet so many people are here that do not necessarily know me. It's a lot to show up in front of them and just say, hey, take my word for it. Trust me and give me your money. 10 years ago, perhaps, because there was really nobody else. But every single one of those people that just said 2, there's 17 other webinars that they can attend this week in this market. So the next piece that comes up, which is very important, is nurture. And you don't hear marketers ever talk about this. What's happening right now is this webinar is part of our nurture sequence. Okay, the emails you've been receiving, nurture sequence. The emails you will receive for the subsequent week after this, nurture sequence. But here, I'll let you in on a little secret. Jason and I, we're not going to give up on you if and in case you decide not to invest in Webinar Mastery Academy this time around. Now, we will reward those who do. The price will go up, the bonuses will change, the offer will be less attractive and all of that, but we won't give up on you. Watch what we do. Month after month after month, we will religiously show up in front of you because some of you just need way more time to make a decision, and that's okay. That's okay. Look, Christopher says, I feel quite nurtured right now. Right? Warm and fuzzies, guys, warm and fuzzies. But how many of you would love customers that purchase from you, not because of that one manipulative sales psychology thing that you said, but because someone just loves you so much, because they just trust you, they just know you, they just say, take my money. Can you give me a wow right now? If there's been at least a little bit of a mental shift, an aha moment that has taken place in your mind so that you can start to think about your funnel a little bit differently, because this is, I'm so far behind on time right now, but this is the anchor of everything else we talk about today. I love this. Vinay, Christopher, Evan, Danny, Renee, Thomas, Philip, lots of wows coming in. All right. So, for me, it was a big aha moment. And what I basically said was, we have to combine the webinar, the funnel, the paid traffic with the social media, and we got to kind of build a matrix where I stay present and in front of people regularly. There was a study done that proved that people will trust a brand more just by seeing it more. Nothing else. Why do you think companies pay, $50 million or some obscure, obscene number to be on Super Bowl ads? Most of those companies don't even have a call to action. They just show you their brand and their logo because Visual consistency breeds brand value, breeds trust. So you've got to show up. You've got to show up. You've got to be present. And that has been the crux of our system. And this is how we defeat and beat now our competition. Now, you might think, oh, it sounds like a lot of work. Well, especially now with AI, hell no, it just isn't. And we're going to share with you how to do that. All right. So here is how this game works. If you want to win and scale, there is no ifs and buts about this. Just get over it and accept it. This is no more a day zero game. This is now a 30, 60, 90-day game. Now, you can do some serious damage in a 30-day window. All right. But I have friends who adapted a 90-day window and are literally doing 5, 6, 7, 8 million a month. It's tough, though. You cannot go there right away. It's a whole nother ball game. But once you get away from the idea of I spent $1 today, so I must make $1 back or $1.20 back today, that mindset shift must happen for you to win in evergreen funnels, whether it be webinars or any other type of funnel. So let's walk through what I mean by that. Okay. So this is where we're going to go into my sketchpad. Let me know if this works. So I want to share with you guys that, let's just go back 10 years ago. 10 years ago, what was very common was you would invest $1 in ads and you'd make back $1 or 50 cents up to $2 immediately within a day or 2 days. This would happen left, right. You could do crap. You could throw out. I mean, it was just constant. This was consistent. Okay. Now, let's go 5 years ago. And things started to change. You'd invest $1 and you'd make back $1. Some people would make $1.10, a little bit of profit. Now, by the way, I am talking about a short-term window here. So I'm talking about a 5 to 7 day window max, right? 0 to 7 days is kind of the math I'm sharing with you. Okay. So now people were still thinking, okay, I'm breaking even. That's all right. This is not bad. And fundamentally, it's shifted to now you invest $1 today and you'll make back 0.7 or 0.8. And right here, pause. What the hell are you talking about, Anik? Talk about being the messenger of horrible news. So in order for you to win, you got to lose. I told you guys I was going to give you the harsh truth. And I'm ready to argue with anyone on this. I've done this again and again. I can't tell you how many funnels we've built. Now, why is this happening? It's happening for 2 reasons. And it's very simple. We don't have to get too crazy into it. Okay. Norman says, how do you ROI though? Norman, be patient. We're going to get there. I'm not going to leave you losing money. I would be bankrupt by now if I did that. So number 1, Facebook, Google, the top 2 juggernauts of traffic, have to report back to the Wall Street and have to report positive numbers and profit and growth. Well, it's becoming really difficult for Facebook to grow. They've got pretty much market saturation. So does Google. How the hell are they going to grow? They've got millions of advertisers already advertising. Like I said, they've hit market saturation in many ways. Their user base, if anything, is going down a little bit because now TikTok and the young kids don't use Facebook and blah, blah, blah. So what do? Hike up ad costs. So ad costs will forever only go in one direction, up. Whereas I have had times 10 years ago, I would pay 50 cents, 70 cents. Guys, I used to have funnels 10 years ago. I said 50 years ago, 10 years ago. Well, maybe not 10 because I wasn't running ads back then. So I'll go back like 7, 8 years ago. I had book funnels, $10 shipping and handling book funnels that were profitable. It was insane right out the get-go because my cost per click was like 50 cents. Today, that same cost per click is $3. And yet here we are, still living the game and dominating it. Okay. Number 1, costs go up, ad costs go up. Number 2, conversions are not down. Conversions are slower. Why? People are conflicted. People pull back. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of noise. People have different things to consider. They don't know if they should spend on this or if they should spend on that. They don't know what's going on with the market. They don't know what's going on with the economy. They don't know what Donald Trump's going to do tomorrow. So they go, let me just pause and think. So those two reasons right there cumulatively create this trend that you're seeing here of dropping conversions. So how do you combat this? Well, you can either be one of the ones that cries and complains and says it's all dead, or you adapt. And we adapt using basically what I'm about to go over with you in the next 4 levers. You guys like how I set that up? I thought that was pretty brilliant. All right. Can I get a 1 in the chat if everyone's still with me? Because now we're about to get into some more really cool advanced material. Give me a 1 right now if you're still with me. Come on, I want to see the ones. Give me a 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, lots of ones. Perfect. Let's move into profit lever number 2, pixel manipulation. Okay. Listen, I know that AI is all the craze right now, but AI, you guys have to understand, AI is just very, very advanced machine learning. That's all it is. It's incredibly advanced data analysis, where machine learning would initially, let's just say if there was a day where machine learning would process 1,000 data points, AI and LLMs, that's why they're called large language models, large. What they can do now is they can process 1 million for the 1,000, or 10 million for the 1,000, or 100 million for the 1,000. So they're just processing an insubordinable, a massive amount of data, which is what makes them look intelligent, but really still they are not generative. They are still processing data and bringing it together. Very important for you to understand that distinction. So if you go back 5, 6, 7 years ago, Facebook implemented AI and Google implemented AI way before this thing was a fad. They just called it a pixel. Today, more than ever, the pixel that you use on your advertising is by far the most important thing on the planet. I don't care what targeting you do. It's useless. I'm telling you, in many ways, they're getting rid of it. I wouldn't say it's useless, but it's becoming more and more useless. The goal and the mission of both Facebook and Google is to get rid of targeting. They literally want to make their ad system so simple that you come in, you say, run ads for XYZ, give them a URL, and go away. They'll make your ads, they'll pick your targeting, they'll do it all because they say, listen, we know you're smart, but there ain't no way you're smarter than all of the billions upon billions of data points that we have in our system. We know who in our ecosystem will buy that product that you just put in front of us. We know it better than you know it. We know what to say to them better than you know what to say to them. So the pixel is where all of this lives and breathes. But you've got to train the pixel. And how you treat that pixel is absolutely vital. So you got to incentivize the pixel. All right. So hold that thought. I'm not even talking about my slides anymore. I'm just going off script here. Hold the thought. So number 1, train. Number 2, momentum. This is incredible. This is weird. We figured this out. It took me millions of dollars in ad spend. So if you intend to do ad spend in the future, remember this moment right now. Train, which we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you how to train it. But almost before the train comes momentum. By momentum, what I mean is AI is innately momentum driven. If you actually think about it, so are humans. You know, Jason talked about this on the last webinar where he said, when you have momentum, you push harder, you press forward. So if you actually think about it, the way humans work is they also lean into momentum. Why do we say when it rains, it pours? Why do we feel like when something bad happens, everything bad happens? Or when something good happens, everything good happens? We are momentum driven. The laws of physics are literally built into our existence. And so momentum is everything for the pixel as well. So when we do ads, we have to find a way to harness momentum in our favor to then train the pixel quicker. And the better it trains, the better the results that we get, the faster the results we get. Those 2 things I just shared with you, promise you right now, I promise you, you can go to some of the top media buyers on the planet and they don't know this. because they might work for a big agency, but they themselves only run a little bit of advertising and they don't actually understand the concept that I just shared with you. So Facebook's got millions upon millions of websites where their pixel is embedded. They are learning more crap about every visitor on the planet than you can possibly imagine. They know so much about their 2 billion users. It's downright scary. Listen, how many times have you been on a call, you talked about something obscure, you turn on your phone, boom, you see the ad and you're like, wow, I would never see that ad. What the hell? Happens all the time. Happens all the time. They know everything. They know what sites you're visiting. They know what locations you're visiting. They know who you're meeting. They know who you're talking to. They know what you're talking about. They know what you're interested in. They know what stores you're visiting. They know what websites you're visiting. They know what you're thinking about. They know your emails. They're reading all of it. So as a consumer, scary as shit. As a marketer, bing, bing, love it. Right? This is why I want to trust them way more than I want to trust myself as a marketer, not as a consumer, right? So let's teach the algorithm. All right. So we talked about this concept. Let me just go down here. Oops, what did I just do? All right, so we're back on the scribble pad and I'm struggling my ass off here. 1 second. All right, we're gonna go down here. Okay, I'm gonna teach you 2 concepts. So the concept number 1, come on, man. Don't do this to me today. Hold on, guys. Technical difficulties. All right, we're good. This should work. All right, number 1, we are going to talk about something called momentum and how I get pixel momentum. You want to make sure when you start ads, if you ever do ads, listen, you can't start with too small of a budget. I know. I'm going against the grain of what people teach you. I know the Facebook marketers, they all love to teach you, start with $5, start with $10. No, don't waste your time. This is exactly why I ask you to please wait until you have your webinar dialed in, your funnel dialed in, you've tested it a few times, and we go over all of this in Webinar Mastery Academy. And when you have it converting webinar, I'm assuming you have some money, then please give a respectable budget. And you've got to start with a few hundred a day. You just do. Because if you don't, if you start with $5 or $10 a day, you're never going to get the momentum that's necessary to give that ad campaign a chance. You just aren't. It's not going to happen. Okay? You're just not going to get a chance to do that. So we got to start with a few $100, but there is one asset that I use that I don't see anyone else using in the webinar world, especially for evergreen, that gets you about double the runway from your ad spend. We'll go over that in a minute. Not only that, I'll share some really cool prompts with you, things you can use to create these things. You're going to be pretty impressed how easy it's become now with AI. But the second thing, I want to teach you a concept called bullseye. I don't know how to spell today. How do you spell bullseye? All right, you know what? Let's not spell. How do you spell bullseye? Bullseye? Someone help me out. You don't have to be smart to do this. I already told you. All right, thank you, Renee. Renee, help me out. All right. I've shared this with a few marketers and they've literally gone, pfft. So I know that I've got to train my pixel. And so as much as I trust Facebook and my trust with them is getting more and more as a marketer, but I still like to take control over the earlier days of training the pixel. So I'm going to give you an example of what I do. So we call this the bullseye. So I'm going to draw you a bullseye. Again, this is a concept you are never going to hear on any other marketer or any other ad person teach you. So right here, this is what we call our hot audience. In the middle, right here, this is the jackpot. The hot audience, if you are in business already, for someone like me, and this is exactly how we launched our Webinar Mastery Academy ads, okay? The hot audience are going to be your buyers. I have, thankfully, through the grace of God, been around for a long time, and I have thousands of buyers. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to launch my ad only to those people. Just to those people for a day or two. Why do you think I'm doing that? Because I'm controlling the ecosystem to give good firing data to that pixel, that conversion event, to train it on the type of people that I want. And I'm giving myself momentum. My ads are going to get far higher click-through rate, far higher response rate. Facebook's going to go, wow, this is a cool ad. People like it. I like it. It's got momentum. It's got positive feedback. All right. Then to start scaling it, I'm going to go into my warm audience. Warm audience for me are going to be people that have engaged with my Facebook page or my Instagram page. They're going to be people that have clicked on my stuff, that probably know who I am. They're on my email list. Maybe they haven't bought yet, but they're very aware and familiar with me. Okay, why? Because I think that's the next hot, warmer audience. So I'm going to scale my budget up a little bit, but I'm going to keep it tight so that that ad can continue to get that momentum, so that the ad can, so that the pixel fire starts to learn and goes, okay, I see the type of people he's asking for, so that the colder and colder I go, that training is defined and the pixel continues to search out the type of people that were responding to that ad. All right, then as we want to scale, we go to what I call lukewarm. Now, lukewarm for me would be someone like Russell Brunson, or someone who follows Jason Fladlien, or someone who follows Frank Kern, or Marie Forleo, or Amy Porterfield, or Dean Graziosi, because those people are warm to the topic, okay? May not know me, but they know webinars, they know marketing, they understand internet marketing, they know the term funnels, they're interested in the topic. So that's my next one. And only once this has been going on for a week or so, do I then go into the cold audience. By the time I go into the cold audience where I'm just flat out targeting interest or going macro and massive, only at that point, my pixel's been firing. Momentum is there. The ad's got positive feedback. It's got all that momentum to build off of. And I've trained that pixel on who my ideal customer is. So this way, this is how I come out. And this is how my ads kick ass, even during a tough. This is, guys, we spent 25 grand in the span of 2 weeks promoting a series on webinars. Like, how many people in the world actually are interested in generating webinars? I think we got them all, okay? And I did it because of this right here. All right, I did that because of this right here. So real quick, high level, of course, everybody, we will go into this in so much more detail when you're inside Webinar Mastery Academy, but I got to move on from here. But did I give you an aha moment? Did something in your brain pop real quick? Give me a wow right now if you're like, okay, shit, I've never heard that before. Like, this makes sense as to why some people crush it with paid traffic while others struggle like crazy, because there are methodologies we use. Wow. Okay. Lots of wows coming in. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Let's keep going. I'm still on secret 2 here. Now, let me give you the coolest hack that we have discovered that gives our ads and gives my budget about a double runway, okay, from where it is. And that is, shoot, right here. I got an example. You can put me on the screen. You ready? Okay, I'm going to do 2 ads for you. I'm just going to do these on the spot. But I want you to hear me, and I want you to have your own. I want you to pretend like you're a consumer right now, and you are. And I want you to have your own, I want you to track your own inner reactions to the next thing. Ad number 1, ready? Learn how to monetize your email address. I've got an amazing webinar for you where for 90 minutes, I'm going to share with you exactly how to turn your email address into a business, how to build an email list using your email address and learn how to monetize that. So right now, click above or below, go to the next page, give me your name and email address, and I will register you for a 90-minute webinar where I teach you exactly how to do this. Okay, ad number 1. That was ad number 1. Yes? Okay. Now, let's go to ad number 2. Same campaign. Little caveat, little difference. 3, 2, 1. I want to give you this free book right now to teach you how to monetize your email address. Listen, not just this book, but this book comes with a 90-minute masterclass on exactly what you need to do. So I gave you this book in a video format with an interactive training. So right now, if you want to learn how to turn your email address into a webinar, I want to hand this free book to you in digital format. All you have to do to get this book is show up to our training, and you not only will get an amazing training, but you'll get this book at the end as my gift to you. So if you want to learn how to turn your email address into a business, click above or below right now. Take 20 seconds and opt in for this book. Show up to the training, and I'll send you a copy of this for free. And I'll teach you exactly how to use what I teach in here. So right now, click above or below, next page. Let me get this book over to you. Okay. Now, ad number 1 or ad number 2? Ad number 1 or ad number 2? 2's pouring in. I wish I could read the names. They're coming so fast. You know why? Do you know what? I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old at home. Every morning, every afternoon, every night, we chase them around with books in our hands. Read this book. Let's read a book. Let's read a book. Let's read a book. Hey, school's coming. We got to go to school. Let's go buy some books. Let's buy some books. We go to school. We got to need books. We go to college. We need textbooks, textbooks, textbooks. Since we were kids, there is innate value in books, profound value in books. Everyone wants books. I buy books all the time. I don't read half of them. I just love buying them. I put them up on my bookshelf. It makes me feel smart. I don't think I've ever been through an airport without buying a damn book. This is the highest perceived value gift you can give someone. It's tangible. I'm holding it. It's immediate. It feels real. 90-minute webinar is too abstract. This isn't. But to get this, you got to show up to my webinar. This cut my ad costs in almost half. Just this trick right here. Cut my ad costs in almost half. Can I get a wow if that's something you didn't know and you learned and now just changed how you would approach? By the way, this works with your email list. It doesn't have to just work with ads, but this is a trick that took us millions upon millions of dollars in testing. Literally, we split tested. We tried straight to webinar. We tried through the book, and we found a significant value added by going straight to the book. Significant value. All right. Okay. So my top pixel hack is to offer attendees a free book to your attendees. Not only that, but there's so much psychological value. All right, so much psychological value of you're an author, the guy's holding a book, books are written by experts, he must be an expert. There's all this going on behind the scenes. And I mean, I could show you example after example. We would pump these things out sometimes every month to refresh the campaigns, and it just kept working, and it just kept working, and it just kept working, and it just kept working. By the way, most of our books would be blank inside. Those were just showpieces. We would literally go down the street to Kinko's and get one printed just so we had a piece in our hand, but they were always digitally downloaded for people, right? So now, how do you do this, right? This was tough. By the way, this is a book that was an actual real book. Like, this is a book right here. This is the second in the series where I teach about FTC stuff. It's right here. And real book written by AI. Written by AI. Like 85-90% of this was written by AI. I gave it some info, of course, but so it was tough to write a book. When we were doing it, I had a person on my team that would do this, and it was tough. It wasn't easy. We had to go through a lot of steps. You had to go through a lot of hoops, jump through a lot of hoops to do it. So you don't. This is when you start to take some screen captures. Here is the prompt where everything starts. So number 1. Now you might say, I don't even know what the hell to write a book about, Anik. I know the topic, but I don't want to write a book. Book writing is tough. Blank pages, staring at those. Oh my God, I don't want to do it. Go ahead, take a screenshot. This is where we start. We're going to first do your customer avatar. Now, I just want to be very clear. I did not invent this prompt. This is a Frankenstein prompt. I'm going to be very, very clear with you. I have tested the shit out of this prompt. John on my team, Stoltzfus, who is our copy chief, tested the crap out of this prompt, but we put it together by piecing together other prompts from other people. There might be components here. I definitely believe one of them is Perry Belcher. So Perry, love you, but took some of your stuff. Just being honest. All right. So, but we modified and we tested the crap out of it. Okay. So here we give it context, we give it role. We say, hey, this prompt is designed to help experts and marketers build a detailed customer avatar profile based on their niche, website, or market summary. The objective is to conduct deep research in a market, create profile that includes demographics, psychographics, and insights into a customer behavior. Look, I'm not going to read all the prompts because then it'll take me for freaking ever here. Then we gave it a role. You're an elite direct response copywriter and marketer with over 20 years of experience. You understand human psychology, emotional triggers. The prompt continues. This is still the same prompt. I couldn't fit it on one slide. So go ahead and take a screenshot. Action, research the market. If not already provided, ask the user for a website, market research, blah, 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 blah. Define the client demographics. Using the knowledge of customer research in the niche, create a detailed demographic profile to include the following: age, range, primary gender. Okay. And then last but not least, action, define the demographic. Give us the psychographics. Dive deeper into the client profile to understand key motivations and buying decisions. Include an analysis of typical client lifestyle, beliefs and values, buyer motives, and how they buy. Okay. Oh shit, we're not done yet. Number 4, identify other client behaviors. Number 5, identify pain points and challenges. Sorry, I know some of you are taking screenshots. We're going to give a replay of this, so you guys will be able to have a chance to stop and take the screenshots. And you know what, for the people that actually attended, I might even send out a Google Doc with all of these so you can copy paste them, because who wants to rewrite all this? These are monster prompts. Number 5, identify pain points and challenges. Identify buying objections. This is killer stuff. Watch and see what the hell happens after this, okay? Yeah, we'll send it out. Hey, John, I know you're watching. Let's pop these all on Google Drive or a Google Doc, and only the people who showed up live. If you're watching this on replay, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to go back and screenshot everything and rewrite it. Actually, I'll give you a tip. Screenshot it, post a screenshot in ChatGPT, and ask it to rewrite it, and it'll rewrite it for you, and then you can just copy paste it. You're welcome. All right. Okay. So example. All right. I run offers in the make money online side hustle niche. Create my client avatar with special attention to pain points that can be used to target my ideal customer. Here's a refined client avatar. Blah, 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 blah. Look at what the hell it does. So we gave it that prompt. Look at this shit. Market insights and trends. Okay. I don't want to read all this. Can you just read this? This was created in an instant. All right. Check some screenshots for this. Demographics, 25 to 45 years old, slight male skew, roughly 55% male, 45% female. Interest spans both genders equally. Employment status, income level, $35,000 to $75,000. Urban and suburban areas across the U.S., often in areas of higher cost of living. Motivations and aspirations, want financial freedom, work flexibility. They value self-improvement, hustle culture, skeptical of traditional jobs, behavior patterns. We keep going. Goals and values. Interests and behaviors. It just outputs all this. By the way, this is like instant. Okay, this is instant. Online behavior. They watch YouTube tutorials, attend webinars, subscribe to newsletters. They engage with success stories and real examples. Objections and barriers to purchase: price sensitivity, trust, complexity, commitment. Okay, now here's what we do. We got our customer avatar. Okay. We got our customer avatar. So now we're going to take that and we're going to go one step further. So what we're going to do, okay, so we have another one. Then we're going to build upon this one. So let's look at an example in the financial crypto niche. First, we build the avatar. So we're going to build this all the way through now. And you're going to watch what we do with this book. It's insane, okay? And I am so behind right now. Holy shit. But anyways, we're going to keep going. I did the crypto financial space demographics. I got those psychographics. I got those. I'll literally copy paste all of this. If I'm doing this, I got their goals. I got their pain points. I got their common buying objections. I got their online behavior and community. And then I'm going to take this. You ready? I copy that into a document. Okay, I copy that into a document, and then I'm going to run my next prompt to find hooks and books. I've attached a detailed customer avatar for the financial crypto space. I have a webinar that sells a coaching program that helps income-minded investors earn double-digit yields from their crypto investments. Without getting too specific into the offer, brainstorm potential hooks and book titles for this niche and avatar. This is all stuff, by the way, this would have taken me a total of like 1 or 2 minutes. Okay? Watch what happens next. We're using Claude for this, by the way. Transformation hooks, the digital dividend revolution from zero to financial sovereignty, the new retirement plan, escape velocity, the freedom formula, challenge hooks, no more zero yield prison, the trust crisis solution, DeFi coded, scam proof your portfolio, beyond complexity trap, the yield fortress method, the 3-layer shield, the smart money protocol, the capital preservation engine, the due diligence playbook, 7 deadly DeFi mistakes, the 15 red flags, 21 myths that keep you poor, the 9 pillars. This is all just like freaking coming out like in a heartbeat for us. Big idea hooks, the great wealth transfer. Ooh, right? Banks are obsolete. The 1% secret, the last gold rush, financial heresy. Dude, I like a few of those a lot. This was outputted within literally seconds for us when we were doing this. So, how many of you would love to be like, this is creating a book? We had to do all this by hand, and I just gave you the prompts to be able to do this right now. You all could go right now and do this. So give me a wow right now if you feel like you could do this. Come on, do some engagement here. Let me see what you guys think so far. Lots of wows. All right. I'm going a little bit behind schedule. Give me a yes if that's all good. I got so much more to go. I'm going to try to pace things up here. Give me a yes if it's all good. Going behind schedule, all right? Okay, so this is the next step. Now, I'm going to stop at a key prompt. I'm going to keep giving it to you right now, but I will tell you, you want all the goodies? You got to join us inside Webinar Master Academy. Hint, hint. But I promise you I would give you a ton, all right? Okay, given the following book title that I've attached, so we picked one of them. We picked one of the choices. Outline a short 30 to 40 page book. So the title that we liked was The Great Wealth Transfer, Why the Next Decade Will Create More Millionaires Than Any Time in Human History and How to Position Yourself. That was like literally copied and pasted. Okay. So let's go here. Book outline, The Great Wealth Transfer. Estimated length 35 pages, structure 8 chapters. Intro, the greatest opportunity you've never been told about. Chapter 1, the ticking clock of a broken system. And then notice how it breaks it down for you, what that chapter would have. Chapter 2, follow the money. Chapter 3, why crypto is the rails. Chapter 4, the rise of the income investor in crypto. Chapter 5, the skeptic's guide to safe yield. Chapter 6, the wealth stack for the next decade. Chapter 7, the psychological edge. Chapter 8, positioning yourself to receive. Done. The outline of the book is complete. Like this whole thing would have taken us maybe 5 minutes. Like every single one of you right now when this webinar ends can go do this for your space. Okay. Now, at this point, you have everything you need to have AI write your book. So notice how you can't just use one prompt to write a book. People try to do that. That's why it sounds like crap. You got to break it down into these little steps. I gave you the steps. Now, the last step would be that I would use certain prompts to actually write the damn thing. Then I would use a tool like Ideogram and use some prompts to create my book cover and just put it up together. And I'm done. I'm telling you, you can have a book done within an hour or so, all using AI. It's going to sound great. It's going to look great. It's going to be great content if you follow the prompts the way we've taught and you follow them in sequential order. All right. So I actually don't have anything to draw on that one because I already showed it to you. So we've now gone through the pixel manipulation. We talked about the key to training the bullseye, and the key to getting momentum is having that book to give away on the ad to get them to take action. Now, again, none of this is something that you would need to do until you have a webinar that's up and converting. So that's why we will help you do that inside of Webinar Mastery Academy first. And then when it's time to scale, that's when I step in and say, all right, let's put these things into place, but we can do these rapidly and quickly now utilizing AI, and we'll have all the prompts and everything for you to do that. Right? So give me a number 2. All right. Give me a number 2. If you are following me right now, give me a number 2 if you're following right now. All right. We got a lot of people that are following. Okay. All right. Let's go to number 3, funnel extension. Okay. This is incredibly important and never talked about. I'm the only person in the market that actually talks about this, and most people have had massive mind-blowing moments. Even some of the biggest marketers that are doing 8 figures have come to me and said, Anik, this was absolutely, mind-blowing for them. And so funnel extension, let's go straight to, okay. So I'm gonna tell you right now. Let's go first to drawing, so I can show you this part. This is very, very important. Um, there are essentially three areas of focus for your webinar funnel. Three areas of focus, okay? Number one is something we call your narrative. Okay, Webinar Mastery Academy. What was the narrative? The two titans of webinars converged together for the first time in history ever to teach their married system to webinar domination. That was a powerful narrative. It had itself built out, right? We had a really good opportunity to bring these two brands together that independently have great brand value, that people know are great at webinars, and now they're converging together to do one masterclass together. Like, this is insane. This is going to be great. So I'm going to show you how to build out a narrative. Now you're going to say, well, I don't have that, Anik. There's like 1,500 ways of doing this, and you have one of them. I promise you. I'm going to show you how to do it. Number two is engagement, and I'm going to share with you the engagement part as well. And then number three is the extension. This is where we added 30% to our sales. If there's nothing else you take away from my time with you today, please take away the extension, because it has had ridiculous results for people. All right, so this was hard freaking thing to do. We have a mastermind where people pay $30,000 a year to be in it. And the number one question we always get from people is, how do I build a narrative? How do I build a narrative? Help me build a narrative. I don't understand how to build a narrative. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. We got sick of it. I'm like, I'm done answering this damn question. It's not that hard. Let's just freaking answer it for them, and let's do it through a freaking prompt. Okay. So let's just figure out how to do it the easy way. So the email campaign narrative creation prompt, go ahead and take screenshots, because it's long. It's very long. And I got people over here, by the way, that are like, oh, this prompt was written by AI. First of all, who gives a shit if it was? Secondly, it wasn't. But who cares who the hell wrote it, guys? We've tested the crap out of it. Sometimes you guys, you really crack me up. Sometimes some people just really crack me up. And they're so obsessed with how something was created. And I'm like, I'm obsessed with the results it creates. I don't care what do you care how we created it? We've tested it until a upteenth degree. And we, the experts in this, say it works. So that's all that matters. All right. So this is the first part of that prompt. This is the second part of the prompt. We give it a role. So we define who this person is. The third part is the action. We're going to tell it what we want it to do. That's continued. We want it to extract the hooks. We want it to do a hook review. We want it to create the narrative. We have very meticulously written this part. Please do not change even a word. It's watch what it creates and be freaking mind blown. Okay. Email outline. Now we define exactly how we want the emails to be outlined and done. So do not change this. Lots of back and forth went in. Vidya says, is there a document for this? Yes, Vidya. For anyone who is on here live and stays with us, we are going to send you later, tomorrow, a Google Doc with all of these. I decided that while I was on the webinar. All right, format. Give me a format in the following way. So build my narrative for me, AI, in the following way. Okay, so ready? Let's test this bad boy. Okay, let's test this bad boy. Let's test it on a sales page from my personal swipe file. So assuming all we have is the registration page, and there's and it's got 7 days coming up to launch. So let's say I enroll as an affiliate or whatever. I want to do this. All I have is this registration page of Dean and Tony and their offer. So I grab the link, and here's what I do. Okay. I pop that prompt with the URL into Claude. Claude says, hey, I got some questions for you. I say, all right, fine. I'll answer your questions. Okay. And sorry. So it says, I got some questions for you. I answer the questions. Boom. This is the response from it. 7-day email campaign narrative. This was copy paste using the prompt that I mentioned. Primary hooks, secondary hooks, and look at that breakdown of your email narrative outline. It literally gives you the subject lines, it gives you the pre-header, it tells you the overall email hook it's using, it gives you the live emails that you're going to put out there right before the webinar. Oh, it gets better. Norman's like, this is badness. It gets better. Now it outlines all the emails for you. So you could just hand this to an email writer and they would do it. Or why would we hand it to an email writer when we can have AI write it? And for that, we've got prompts too. But some things are better left inside the members area, right? So look at this. All my emails done, outlined. This took minutes, fast, super fast to get done. All right. Can I give me a word right now that describes where you are in your mindset, right? As you're watching, what's a word going through your mind? I'm curious. Give me a word. What's going through your mind right now as you're watching this? I like this. Andy says hopeful. Deepak says wow, enchanted, success, explosion, done, fast, blown away, effing excited, interesting, love this, chewing at it a bit. All right, phenomenal. Let's see here. It's going too fast. Amazed, blown away. Oh my God. Inspired, transformational. Jim says I might end it all today. Jim, whoa, relax. All right. Now, remember I shared this with you? Let's go back to this. So, narrative. Done. Literally with AI. Done. The one piece that was left was the actual emails. And we'll take care of that for you inside of Webinar Mastery Academy, okay? So now let's go back. So now I want to give you guys a little hack. We didn't do it on this launch, but we probably will on the next live launch of this. So how do we address this show rate issue? By differentiating ourselves. So watch what I do. If you're on my list, watch what I do for the next campaign. I'm doing a VO3 masterclass coming up soon. And I'm going to use this trick. It's not really a trick. It's a strategy. It's called engagement hacking before the launch. Micro commitments. I'm baffled at how little I see marketers, some of the best marketers, utilizing micro steps, micro commitments that lead eventually to the macro commitment of purchasing something. So before someone can watch a webinar, I don't want to just keep saying, watch my webinar, get ready for my webinar, so much time for my webinar. No, I want to give them something to do. I want them to watch some pre-training. I want them to leave me comments. I want them to engage with me. I want them to stay active. I want them doing stuff. Notice how during this webinar, I consistently ask you to engage with me. It's for no other reason than I got to keep your attention. I got to make sure these are small micro commitments. I promise you, if we were to go back and do an analysis of who has purchased, and then we looked at who was the most active in the chat, you would see a massive crossover. Because of those micro commitments, and the consistent engagement is keeping people's attention. So what we do is we'll pop out a pre-training video, especially in our evergreens. We love to do this, but live campaigns, evergreens, we'll maybe do a podcast episode. We'll do an interview. I just did it today. I did an interview with Jeff Hunter. We're going to be using that as part of the pre-training for the webinar campaign we're doing with him. And so that way, between the time that someone registers for the webinar and your actual webinar, it's not dead silence. It's not something they can just forget. We want to increase the excitement level. So we give them something to do. We give them a video to watch, and then we tell them to comment below and just to continue to commit to the process, to the journey, right? So then we get them to comment below. I love that we grabbed a screenshot where there's 7 comments. Guys, must have been early in the campaign. Ours would get like hundreds, if not some. We've had some that were thousands. Okay. So you add a comment plugin and you start to get people. And sometimes we'll be like, hey, if you comment below or if you share this, we'll do some prizes. This is only for the big stuff. I don't do this all the time. Most of mine are just, hey, listen, leave a comment below. Like if you're excited and you're committed, leave a comment below is what we'll say. Okay. So that's engage. So I just wanted to share with you how in your funnel, how in your webinar are you doing engagement hacking? The more engagement hacking you do, the more the show rate will be, but the higher quality of the show rate. Okay. Last, but by no means least, I had asked you, I said, please, no matter what happens, please pay attention to this part right here, because this is going to make you an additional 30+%. I know I'm making a claim. I've seen this again and again. I feel so confident about it. Okay, maybe it won't be 30%. Maybe it'll be 10%. Maybe it'll be 5%. You'll make more. You will make more, period. So might as well do it. And when a campaign is evergreen, you work once and you profit for a long time. So you might as well do it one time. It's going to be worth a lot. I took some inspiration from Jeff Walker. He has a product launch formula where he likes to teach people to release a video, tease people, release another video, tease more, build up, build up, build up. Keep doing that until the one day where they do a product launch and everyone's been warmed up and they're excited and they buy. Works like a charm. It's epic. Probably one of the biggest evolutions in our industry ever. He's a genius. So I said, what if I just reversed it? See, a lot of times people can't watch a webinar because, I don't know, they're busy. Stuff's going on in their life. They signed up, baby got sick, work came up, time zone. They just couldn't watch it. Right now, we have 500 people, about 600 people on this one, 900 people on the other one. I'm sure there was some crossover, but for a minute, let's assume there wasn't. So let's say we have 1,500 people that have watched our webinar live. But we have, I think, 7,000 registrations. There are 5,500 registrations for people that said they're damn interested, but haven't watched. What am I going to do? Oh, just send them replays. Here's the thing. I can. And some of them will watch the replay. But some of them are still not going to watch it because they don't want to spend 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. This is where we deploy the reverse PLF. It's the simplest, silliest thing. We chop the webinar up into 3 pieces. We create 3 videos. And now we have a reason to email that person for longer. See, one of the things we noticed is our funnels were starting to die down, or we were closing our funnels when we were doing these webinar funnels. And we were noticing that on the emails that we were sending on the last day, we were still getting 30, 40% open rates. I thought, this is literally like you've got a bunch of people in your house having a good old party. Everyone's freaking excited, or better than the party, because a lot of times I want to kick people out of the party, but you've got a bunch of customers in your house and they're buying up stuff. And you're like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. I got to go to bed. Get the hell out. And they're still buying. And you're like, get out. And then you wonder, oh, man, why didn't I get enough sales? Well, you just kicked a shitload of buyers out. We've got a lot of people that are very interested. Why are we shutting the funnel down? Why don't we just give them another way to consume the message? Because it's all about the message, right? Why don't we just give them another way to consume the message? So let's chop it up into smaller bits so that they feel less intimidated. And then that way we have 2 or 3 days to send a message just about the first video, 2 or 3 days to send the message about the second video, 2 or 3 days to send a message about the third video. We just added 9 days to our funnel. Gave them more opportunity. How could that lose us sales? It can't. It can only make more sales. And sure enough, for us, it was killing it. So now we did the narrative we used AI for. We did the engagement to increase show rate. And now we're going to extend the webinar or the funnel to give people more time and different ways to engage, to consume the message. And by the way, we have an AI prompt that's coming out that'll help you create the back-end emails as well. And that'll be inside of Webinar Mastery Academy. And so that's what the reverse PLF is. Now check this out. We came up with 31 strategies 31 strategies that you could deploy. You know, Jason always talks about having a playbook. Jason has probably 31 closes you can do, and we'll leave that to him. What I got is 31 different ways we can extend your funnel, 31 different ways we can keep that customer engaged. He says 310 plus closes. All right. Well, I got 31. All right. So 31 different ways for you to get more monetization from that customer. And we've done an epic training on this that we give to our members. 31 different ways, and we're going to convert all of them into prompts over time. So going back real quick, narrative, part of the funnel, engagement, and extension, right? If we go back right now, and I'd like to go back to the slide, and I'll come back to this. I'd like to go back up here to this slide and just want to spend a minute here so that everyone knows where we are in this whole process. We talked about data manipulation, which was getting you to understand the reality of how evergreen and ads are working and how you've got to think longer term. We talked about pixel manipulation, where we talked about how you start your ads, and we talked about the power of including something like a free book and what that does to the algorithms and how we can manipulate those algorithms. Then we just talked about 3 ways that you extend your funnel, right? So that we have given the consumer. Remember I said when consumers nowadays, they go take a step back. They need time. They have questions. They don't know. We give them more time. We serve them in different ways. We show them the different strategies we show them different mediums to consume the information, because if they never consume our information, there's no chance they're going to buy. So we find different ways to get that in front of them. All right. Everyone right now, you still with me? Give me a wow right now if you're still here with me and you have picked up on something today that you didn't know before that you think will be fundamental in your webinar domination game. And then I want to ask you another question. Are Jason and I delivering on tremendous value as promised, regardless of the fact that we want you to purchase something? Give me a yes right now if we've already proven to you how different this is, and if we are delivering value to you that you can use right now. All right, thank you. That's all I wanted to hear. All right, let's go into profit level four. And I promise you, it starts to pick up pace a little bit now. Sorry, I don't know what the hell's going on here. All right, here we go. All right, now I told you, right? The mecca of webinar funnels is to go evergreen. The mecca is to go evergreen, and there are 2 components to a powerful evergreen funnel. And if you can understand these 2 components, you are ahead of everybody else. And they're not what you think. Of course, the webinar is damn important. I have assumed that. We've already established that. We can't even be doing any of what I'm talking about this whole webinar until your webinar is good. Jason's got you on that. Come join us. Come be with us. We will cater you, walk you through it. We'll get you to a great webinar. But then what? That's when we give you the unfair advantage. That's when the mastery part really kicks in, right? And that is in your ads and in your back end. Okay? So one thing you have to understand, everybody, is, do you remember before I shared with you something here? Let me go back up on this. Do you remember this? And this whole thing was pretty concerning. It was like, what the hell? What am I supposed to do if you're telling me I'm basically guaranteed to lose money? Right now, I'm probably saying this, and every marketer on the planet is like, Anik, you're insane. You've lost your mind. Why would you tell a consumer that? Well, partly because I want to be honest, and the other part is because I need you to have this next aha moment. Nowadays, anything that you promote on paid traffic is just lead gen. Anything. That's just how the ecosystem works. Your competitors are bidding up the traffic cost, and they're willing to lose money or break even because everything's lead gen. So yes, even your $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 offer, it's lead gen. I hate to tell you, if that's the offer that you're putting out on the front end and running advertising to, it's going to be your lead gen. Now, the way around that is you can put a low ticket offer in front of it, which you're going to see us do. You're going to see me put out my offer called Board of Webinars that leads people to this webinar in the evergreen environment. But if I go straight to this webinar, which I will, I'm going to run paid traffic straight to this webinar, it's just lead gen. And that's why I'm willing to lose money on it. So if you want to make money from your webinar in an evergreen environment, mark these words. Please write these down, ingrain these in your brain. Whether you like it or not, my duty to you is to serve you with truth. And this is a hard truth. You cannot make money or succeed at scale with an evergreen webinar without a backend. You cannot do it. You must have a $10, $12, $15,000 back end, period. Whatever that is, that's a whole nother ball game. We talk about that, teach that, whatever the coaching program looks like. Jason and I are coming up with our own. It's an epic one. We love it. And I think it's going to be an amazing fit. I only need a very tiny percent of people to be interested in it for the webinar funnel to be thriving. But without it, I would never launch it. I know the truth. I know it too much. I've tried it, tested it, spent millions on it. You need to have a backend. If you don't want to have a backend, do not scale to paid traffic. Stick to affiliates, stick to your email list. You're good. That's going to limit how fast you can scale, how big you can scale. Accept that. You want to scale big? You want to do the big numbers? You need a backend. Period. No way around it. Can everyone type in backend into the chat right now so that this sneers into your brain? You want to scale? You want to go big? Back end. I want to see everyone type in back end so that I know you've got this down, you understand it, you've internalized it. It's very, very, very important. All right. Here's the other thing here. I'm going to give you a piece of data that took me millions of dollars. It may or may not make sense to you right now until you run a webinar that's evergreen. It probably won't. But please write this down, put it somewhere because you'll come back to it. You're going to need it. Here is the magical number that you can use to scale your webinar. If you want to know whether your webinar, evergreen, meaning it's put in an evergreen funnel, is going to scale or not, there's only one number I need to know. And I will ask you this. If inside of Webinar Master Academy, someone puts this up, they come back to me and say, Anik, I'm going to ask you for one piece of data. That's all I need. I've culminated all the complicated data to one piece of data. Okay. What percent of your registrants? So if you got 1,000 registrations into your evergreen funnel, what percent of the registrations bought? Not how many showed up, not what percent of the show up bought. You got 1,000 registrations. How many bought? You tell me 10, that's a 1% conversion. That's a minimum viable product, meaning we've got something with potential, but at 1%, it ain't going to scale. It just isn't. Too hard. The math is not going to work out. I have done this over millions of dollars. Just take my word for it. It ain't going to work. But we know exactly where we need to go. 1.5%, and we've got ourselves a potential winner as long as the back end is solid and works. You will be more dependent on the back end, so make sure it's really good. This is exactly what I'm going to tell you. When you give me your numbers, there's no way to defy this. I know these numbers. I'm going to tell you this straight up. Now, if you come and tell me 2%, if you tell me my webinar, this is my reg, and I'm getting 2%. So on 1,000 registrations, I'm getting 20 sales. I'm going to look you. I'm going to grab you by the cheeks, one hand on each cheek. I'm going to pull you in close, and I'm going to say, scale that bad boy, because that's the magic number. 2%. I don't know how many of you processed what I just told you or understand the value or meaning of what I just told you, but that math, that data that I just gave you right there, the last 5 seconds, does not exist anywhere on the planet. There is nobody else that can tell you that number. Well, that's not true. There's one more person I know of that could tell you that. And ironically, used to work for me, and he learned under my belt. He was an innovator. I mean, he created a lot of the strategies, but he's the only other person I know that says that gets this. Okay. 2% of registrations is Mecca. Very hard to get to. Very hard. You got to get a great webinar and you got to do everything else well. Got to have a good funnel, good show rate, good email, blah, 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 blah. I just want to set the expectations. Not easy to get to. But 1.5% is good. Many of my funnels have scaled at 1.5%. 2% is just one of those like, oh, okay. Now, once you've got that webinar funnel optimized, ad spend. Okay. I told you there are two key components to an evergreen webinar. We talked about the back end and the necessity of that. And if you don't know how to develop that, that's all the more reason to be inside what we're doing with Webinar Mastery Academy. By the way, some of you are probably sitting there thinking, this sounds like a lot of work. I warned you ahead of time. My job was to come in and give you the stuff that is next level, PhD level stuff. All right. I was nervous about doing it because I'm like, but then part of me was like, I want to show them what the level of depth we go into. And the level of knowledge here is like next level. It's stuff you're not going to get anywhere else. It's simple, but it's millions of dollars in research that I wanted to give you. So a lot of you may not be ready for this. That's okay. We're going to make your webinar. We're going to get you scaling it with affiliates. We're going to get you scaling it with warm traffic, social media, your email list, and you're going to be able to make a lot of money doing that. And when time is ready, we're going to get into some of the more advanced stuff. The next piece of information I just want to tell you is you got to make some great ads. Actually, that's not true. You don't got to make great ads. You got to make a lot of ads. I'm just being honest. The whole world of like everything has to be great is gone. Things don't have to be great anymore, but you have to make a lot of ads. And that sucked. Akalon, great question. He says, I'm not sure what you mean by back end. Sorry. Thank you. That's a weakness in the presentation. It shall be edited in the future. A back end Akalon is when you have another offer at a higher price tier that people can upgrade to after they've purchased your main offer. So for example, I have nothing to hide. You have Webinar Mastery Academy. We don't have a back end right now. We don't have anything else to sell you. Don't worry. That is not some setup. But we have this offer. The price of this webinar will go up. But then eventually we are going to release a really cool like coaching group with Jason and I, where we work with you in a much more intimate fashion, and it will cost far more than the 3,000. And a small portion of the people that buy this program will upgrade to that one, and that's all we need. And what that does is it drastically increases the lifetime value of a customer, hence allowing us to afford to lose money on that front end purchase. The back end is always a offer that's offered after the main purchase. It's in the back end. Does that make sense? Akalon, I'd love a confirmation from you, a verbal confirmation here in the chat, because that was a great question. It was an important one, and I needed to address it. Oh, he said that makes sense. Okay, perfect. All right. So image ads and creating a lot of them was a challenge, was a problem. AI has since solved that. This is incredible what I'm about to show you now. And we're going to run so many classes on this inside of Webinar Mastery Academy. You guys are just going to be blown away. So now what we do is we use ChatGPT or Claude to write a prompt. So now we are using AI to write a prompt, and it's brilliant. We use that to write a prompt for a service called Ideogram or Ideogram. I don't know how the hell you pronounce that thing. It's like $20 a month. It replaces thousands of dollars a month worth of humans that would do design. It's brilliant. I do book covers on it. I do poster designs. I do web page designs. I just do everything. And it will create this awesome prompt. This was literally written with very few instructions from us. It was written by the AI. Now, you guys notice I'm actually showing you one that we used. So he says, is still waiting to talk, 4,000 registered, 900 stayed, 3+ hours. This was an ad that many of you have probably seen. This is an ad that many of you have probably seen us run for this very campaign. Well, I told you we used AI to create that. That prompt posted into Ideogram, bam. Now, let me tell you, we did not get this like ideogram or ideogram doesn't work with pictures of us. You will in the future, I'm sure. But what we did is we asked it to put a picture of a man here and a screen in the back. Okay. We asked it to put a picture of two people here. And all we did is took the image. And so I have someone in my team to do this, but you can hire someone on Fiverr. And we just literally swapped the picture out. But everything else here, see here, was AI created. The color schemes, the text, these little windows, the concept was created by AI. It thought through it. And Norman's like, these ads were insane. They were all over my Facebook. We just created a bunch. Actually, Porvak is right now sitting over there. He's sitting on the other side. So my AV director is sitting on the other side right now, creating image ads using ideogram or ideogram. Someone please tell me how to say the damn thing. It is, it's incredible. And now with VO3 and with HeyGen, I'm creating video ads using AI. I'm going to teach you guys all of this stuff inside of Webinar Master Academy. This is just like next level. By the way, I use an AI version of me right now to get about 25 million views a month on social media. I don't do a damn thing. As a matter of fact, I wake up every morning and I look for my own AI Anik videos so I can learn what the hell's going on. All right. AI. So now, it's this one we just created. This is one we just created today. We want to use it to promote the Eugentic AI Summit. And literally just today. So what happened is everything in here was done by AI. We just popped, there was a picture of some random dude here and we just popped me in. That's it. Okay. It's pronounced ideogram. Thank you, Christopher. All right. There's another one created today. All of these prompts here were literally created by AI. We did not write any of these. We show you, I'll teach you how to create these prompts using AI. So in summary, Profit Lever 4, I gave you the 2 key components of creating a powerful evergreen webinar. You got to have at least 5+ ads launched a week. Well, I just showed you how we use AI to do that now. Super simple. And you got to have your backend set. Without the backend, please feel free to continue running your webinar. Do a great job with it. Get affiliates, run it to your email list, run it on social media, but you cannot do ads. That's all. Hard, fast rule. All right. Give me a yes right now if you're still with me. Give me a yes, because I'm like 5% nervous inside my head where I'm like, man, did I lose people? I'm going over very complex and very advanced material as promised. It's a bit of a test. Wow. All right. Lots of yeses. More. All right. Okay. Do I teach backends? I will be teaching backend. Aaron, I will teach backends inside of Webinar Master Academy. I have some great training on it that I've done. Okay. Now, this is where you get the final TKO strategy. This is where you get the final TKO strategy, where we're going to talk about the 2 components of a email nurture sequence. Sorry, the 2 components of Mac. All right, just remember Mac, like the truck, except without the K. The 2 components we're going to cover for you. One is what I call event-based marketing. And I promise you, we are getting close. By the way, Jason and I are going to hang tight at the end. We are going to answer every question you've got. So we are going to answer every question we got. All right. Number 2 is email nurture. Let me tell you something right now. I see this all of the time. All of the time. I can't tell you how many marketers who do webinars are not using their email address, their email. It just, oh my God, it drives me insane. Your biggest profit center, is in your email list. Your biggest say it behind me, say it with me, type it into the chat. Your biggest profit center is in your flipping email. It is in your email. Your big can I just say that for the next 15 minutes? It's in your damn email. All right? And what is this right now that we are doing? This is a Mac. This event that Jason and I are doing, it's a Mac. It's a monthly activation campaign. Both Jason and I took our email lists, did a really good campaign for a week or so, got our list excited, popped them up on this webinar, and then I did my ads, but my ads went to warm audiences only, got them excited. And so what do? We activate our list. We create excitement. So many people forget that marketing at its most core is about excitement. It's about creating excitement. Video game systems, their launches. Nintendo Switch just launched recently. My nephews were about to lose their damn minds. I made my parents get up. I was like, I'm not doing it. My parents got up, their grandparents got up at 6 a.m. in the morning, took them to freaking, Target and Best Buy and waited in line for these Nintendo Switches. I did it when I was a kid. Movies launch with all this. It's a launch you got, and I do this every single month. And you know what happens? We do this because different people are active at different times. There are people here today. This may not be the right time. Well, guess what? Jason and I, we ain't giving up on you. We're going to do another Mac a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now. Maybe 1 month we'll do a challenge. Maybe 1 month we'll do a Q&A masterclass. Maybe 1 month we're going to do I don't know, something. All right. Maybe we do a campaign we love, and 1 month we're going to do a whole campaign around that. We will get you in the sense of we will keep you warm. We'll keep you excited. And at some point, we trust you'll be ready to activate. Okay. This is, it has made me so many millions. It's insane. And the psychology I'm trying to embark upon you throughout this whole series today has been playing that long game and understanding that your list, you capture a lead today, it is worth so much to you if you just learn to think about it in a little bit of a long-term window versus only this little window that most marketers think in. So what we do is every month we like to do one event, something to activate our list, whatever it is. And we like to vary things up. And I teach this. I did almost like a 4 or 5 hour masterclass on this thing, which just blew people's minds. Now, here's the second piece of this. Okay. So if you're on my list, if you're on Jason's list, watch it. I promise you we do this. You'll see it. You'll see us rhythm. Like you'll see the rhythm of us doing it. Okay. But how many of you know, answer this for me. Give me if you know people in your life that seem to only call you when they need you. How many of you know those people that are like, hey, buddy, only when they need you? Someone said my kids. I think that's probably true for every kid, right? Lots. Look at all the me's coming out. I wish you could see all the me's. Okay. If you're on my list and the only time I show up is once a month, I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm doing a webinar. Hey, buddy, I'm doing something. And so the only thing you get from me is pitch. Every monthly activation campaign's a pitch. Are you stupid? You figure it out. And so you tune it out. So the second piece of it, where I'm going to introduce some really cool prompts for you, is how do we keep our list warm to us? Well, I have a standard rule. If you have an email list, you must mail it every day. That's my rule. It doesn't have to be everyone's rule, but I live by it. You must mail it every day. These are the 10 types of emails we like to do. You can take a screenshot of it. These are the 10 types of emails that we like to do. And by doing these emails, we have found that our list loves us, stays warm to us, and now we're using AI to write them. So check this out. We have a prompt right here. Take a screenshot, please. By the way, love using Claude to write emails, by far beyond ChatGPT. So we just literally tell it like what this, we just give it this right here, what it says. This is the prompt. Okay, we'll send these out to you. So if you're on my email list, by the way, every single time we email a podcast to you, or a newsletter, AI wrote it, and we'll give you the prompts that we use. Okay. And out pops the email. So my expert newsletter, my expert scale newsletter is written by AI Anik, and you can check it out. It's great emails. And we write it using the very prompts which we are going to put inside of Webinar Mastery Academy for you. But these are the top 10. Someone just asked. There you go. Someone said, can you go back to the 10? Kim, there you go. Take a picture. Again, like I said, everybody, you will get a replay of this. You will have a chance to go through this again. I hope you do. But these tie in together, right? So Mac, you can't do Macs. You can't do an effective Mac. But guys, this is how I'm winning the game in the evergreen space. This is how we're able to spend up to $1 million a month in paid traffic and still beat everybody, because we've infused all of these elements into one thing. All right, that's the 5. Everybody, give me a 5 right now if you are excited that you showed up today. I'm 30 minutes over time, but give me a 5 right now. And lots of 5s. Awesome. Okay, well, listen, bonus secret number. I put a lever in number 6, which was just the AI framework. Here's something I need you to understand. If you haven't watched Jason's presentation from last week, please feel free to do so. But right now, what I want to do is I would like your permission. I would like your permission. Literally, I want to share with you what we've created, what Jason and I have created, Webinar Mastery Academy, where we can hold you, well, we want to hold you by the hand, but we can really help you get all of this done using AI so that we can help you create your webinar, your pages, your funnels, your emails, all of this stuff you see here, your offer, your hooks, your slide decks, your sales pages, your card pages, your upsell pages, your fulfillment emails, your paid ads. Give me a yes right now if you are excited to hear about what we have right now. All right. I always say permission-based marketing, full transparency. There you go. Lots of yeses pouring in. All right. Well, look, you can work with both Jason and myself now to get all of this stuff done with you inside of this program that we've built called Webinar Mastery Academy. Look, every business can benefit from a profitable evergreen webinar funnel. We want to help you do this. We want to leverage our combined, Jason and I, easily 40 years of experience and helping you put these together. So there's 3 core components to what we're offering if you join Webinar Mastery Academy. And let me tell you one thing right now, right out the gate. Will Webinar Mastery Academy be available in the future? Yes. Will it be shut down coming up in a few days? Yes. Will we reopen it? Yes. What'll change? Pricing, bonuses, the level of personalized attention, and many other things will change and evolve, probably not for the better. So this will be, as a founder member, this will be your best opportunity to get in, to get the most of us and to get the best of us, because you will be close to our heart because you'll be a founding member. We want to take you through everything, understanding the key psychological triggers, developing the compelling hooks that build curiosity, building offers that crush, creating high converting webinars, learning the power of demonstrations, and like how to actually pitch, how to actually present, how to actually do a webinar. What are the little ticks? What are the little tricks and techniques we do to retain attention, to keep people's attention? Even some level of NLP, not manipulation, but how do we get people to get the most out of what we teach so it creates an impact on them? Leverage AI. All of this now, we've wrapped AI around every piece of it. I tried to show you that today too. Jason showed it last time where he has now got AI. He writes webinars that go off to create deca millions on a plane. If he's doing that, imagine what you can do. We're not going to be as, Not going to be as good as Jason, but hell, if you could be 70% as good as Jason, how much could you do, right? Same here. Your funnels won't be as good as mine. Your ads won't be as good as mine. But what if they could be 70% as good as mine right away? And then we work together to get them the rest of the way. So Jason walked you through the whole webinar framework. He's got the whole thing in great detail. As a matter of fact, we have people on this training that have already started going through his training, and they're loving it. We're getting feedback already every day from our members. All right, self-paced training so you can complete it in a few hours or a few weeks. It's up to you. Go through it as fast or as slow as you want. Now, we're making some changes in there. We're making some evolution in there consistently. So some new lessons may pop up every now and then, but it's really up to you. All right. Jason shares his complete AI webinar script GPT so you can write the webinar like Jason. At least get those core things, all of his objection handling, all of his best closes, all of his best ways to set up a narrative, his best ways to open a webinar, his best ways to create those hooks, those open loops, all of that. Instead of you sitting there and thinking and trying to learn it and figure it out on your own, we put it in here and you get it popped out from there. Now, when it comes to traffic, when it comes to funnels, I gave you a little drop in the bucket today of the level of depth of knowledge that we have, that we've tested over so long and we share. Okay. Next, you want some help? Well, that's John Stoltzfus. He's been in the chat commenting back and responding to people. He's been with me for years now. He's mastered my system. He is a brilliant copywriter, but also a brilliant marketer, and he will be available to review and to help our members with any questions they have. This is something that we probably are not going to offer. I'll tell you right now, moving forward, not at this level, but we're offering it for the founding member class. So right now, you get the webinar mastery blueprint, you get the AI prompts and scripts, you get the webinar traffic secrets, you get those live momentum calls and support, and you're going to get a whole bunch of bonuses from Jason, which I'll cover in just a moment. And you're going to get a whole bunch of bonuses from me, which are epic, which I'll cover in a moment. And here's the whole thing. You can join us today for either a one-time payment of $2,997, or you can make 5 payments of $697. So if you go to Anik.academy, if you want to do the payment plan, scroll all the way to the bottom and there's a button. Or if you want to burn the boats, burn the bridges, go all in, save money, and show us that you are fully committed to this, do the one pay and save yourself money. But right now, here's the other thing. If you don't love it, you get your money back. We don't have any reason or any incentive to keep your money. If you don't love it, you get your money back. KH just wrote here, joined last week. Great investment. That's what this person just wrote, this member. Thank you, KH. I appreciate that. So right now, and then of course, last week we had a killer bonus that we offered that was sensitive, time sensitive. We went back to the team and we decided to re-offer the bonus, but it's class number 2. So the first people that took action last week are going to get priority. And then today, and I'll go over what that bonus is here in just a second. So here's a question. It's private. Nobody else can see this. Give me a 1 right now if you're in the process of joining us. If this is something you've decided you are going to do, Anik.academy, give me a 1 right now if you're in the process of joining us. And we actually have quite a few people that are like, I already joined. I'm already in. All right, got Bev and Norman. Let me know right now. Evan, give me a 1 right now. Chang already joined last week. We got Amit. We got Dr. Eddie. You can also type in www.anik.academy. That might work. Michael says already joined last week. That's awesome. So give me a 1 right now. If you're in the process, you're going to go join right now. Ada says doing it. Sylvia says joined last week. So we have so many people that are already in. Andrew says joined last week. That's awesome. Holly already in, joined last week. That's awesome. Well, let's go over the bonuses. Bonus number 1, the ultimate buyer profile extraction prompt. This is Jason's prompt that he went over last week with you guys. Bonus number 2, the objection smashing AI prompts. This is probably one of Jason's absolute superpower, is to smash through objections. So you're going to have an ability to type in the objection and get Jason's objection handling ability. So you could just take that script and utilize it, read it word for word, and be able to address people's objections. Bonus number 3, the ultimate offer creation masterclass, right? So that you can create a powerful, powerful offer. Bonus number 4, webinar slide design secrets. Yes, there's certain ways that we design webinar slides. Jason's system is slightly different than my system, but we have a system that we use. We have certain text ratios, image usage, flow of them. We're going to cover that. He's going to cover his system with you. Bonus number 5, Jason's ultimate webinar swipe files. That's in and of itself enough. That's in and of itself enough. If all you got was Jason's webinar files, you are in, I mean, that's worth it right then and there. That's worth it right then and there, because you can take those swipe files, convert those things into something that you can use for your topic, your market. So that's Jason's bonuses. Now let's go over some of the things that I'm offering. All right. We already did this. So real quick, bonus number 6, presentation mastery. This is something that I find myself to be very good at. I teach it very well, where I'm going to give you a few different lessons that I've created, where I'm going to show you exactly how. So I have something I call the presenter manifesto. I'm going to show you exactly how I create audience engagement, exactly how I present, exactly the strategies I use to make sure that the webinar is not only of the highest level of value, but that people get the most out of it. The selling manifesto, 7 effective strategies to pitch better, my keys to objection shattering, 1 addition I add after my pitch that boosts conversions, and 5 risk reversal ideas. All right, now we're also going to show you how we get killer show rates. All right. We're also going to show you the full presentation demo. I'm going to literally show you one of my most killer presentations, so you can then watch it with the narration of how I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Bonus number 7, webinar funnel secrets. There's so much that goes into this, right? We talked about the engagement, we talked about the extension, we talked about all of that. I'm going to tell you, teach you, show you in great detail all of that. And then, of course, we are going to have, so yeah, by the way, what are the components of a funnel? The traffic, the pre-engagement, the email, the funnel extension, a long-term nurturing, and of course, how to ascend people into your backend. This is all in a funnel, and we're going to show you exactly how to do this. All right, we continue on to bonus number 8, your webinar SOPs. We're going to show you all of the different standard operating procedures to be able to sell better, to build your webinar, to build your funnel. Bonus number 9, we're going to give you the best ads that we've run so that you have templates to use. You obviously can't use them word for word, but we're going to give you our best swipes. Just like Jason is giving you his best webinar swipes, we're going to give you our best ad swipes. And then, of course, we are going to give you all of our top landing pages that have worked on paid traffic, that are actually Facebook compliant. So we're going to show you some of the top landing pages that we've run those 600,000 registrations through. We're going to show you how we run our traffic, how we teach and pixel hack. So basically, we're going to share with you everything in detail that I've talked about today, but in steps. And it'll be available for you and waiting for you when you're ready, right? When you're ready. All right, bonus number 10, the webinar pitch deck tactics and templates, so that you have our pitch decks, how we do them. You're also going to have Jason's. So it's going to be powerful to have mine and him, and you pick the one that you want to go with. So what to put in them, how we position them, how we actually place the buy link, how we position all of that. You're going to have it, everything that's from us. Bonus number 11, my funnel extension masterclass. I told you this. If all you did was enroll just for this right here, I'm telling you, it would be super powerful. 31 funnel extension strategies that you can implement in your funnel. 31 funnel extension strategies that you can implement in your funnel. So right there, you get the whole webinar mastery blueprint. You get the AI prompts and scripts. You get the webinar traffic secrets, live momentum calls and support. You get all of Jason's bonuses. You get all of my bonuses. This is the best the offer will ever be. Bev, welcome. Bev says, I'm in. I'm so excited. By the way, if you've gone ahead and joined in this last few minutes, let me know, comment so that we can give you a shout out. If you want to learn how to do webinars, whether it is the live webinar, right? You want to create your webinar, you want to do the live webinar, you want to know how to do a funnel for the live webinar, or if you want to scale it to the next level, which we covered today, which is to go evergreen, then we are going to share with you how to do that as well. So that's the split here. You get to pick live. You get to pick a business model that focuses on affiliates, that focuses on your email list, on your social media. Keep it simple. We'll show you how to create a powerful webinar and do that. And then when and if the time is right, and you want to go into the next level and take it evergreen, that's the webinar mastery part of this. Is we'll be here to show you that as well. You won't need to make additional investments in another program. I honestly wouldn't even trust anybody else, right? Holly, great question. Holly said, can I explain what I mean by evergreen? Holly, evergreen simply means when you make a webinar, something that can constantly run. So you're not doing it live, but what's happening is people are joining and they are able to watch a webinar in a webinar like environment using software. So it's running all the time and it's an individual environment for every opt-in. So you are not live, you are chilling and doing whatever you're doing, and people are all over the world watching it, going through their own experience, but they're getting a bit of that experience, that live environment. So it's evergreen. It essentially means it's always running and it's constantly running, right? So this is how we scale webinars, is by, instead of, and unless you want to do them, but for me, I don't want to keep doing them live all the time. I want to eventually be able to pluck them off and make them evergreen. So that's what we did. So that's what we do here. Amit says I'm in. Awesome. Congratulations. Welcome, Amit. Welcome. All right. Chang says, hey, which platforms? There's actually a lot of platforms that are used for evergreen. And I'll cover at least the bulk of them, the best ones. But there's no right or wrong answer here. So the different levels, different things are good at different ones, but they've become very simple now, which is what I love. It used to be complex. Now it's become pretty simple to set all of this up. So hopefully that made sense on what I mean by evergreen. Great question. Another evolution to the presentation that we get to have in the future. Christopher says, I have a lifetime ever webinar account. Will that work? Yes, it will. It will work. Will this work for low tickets? What if your 1 to 2K program is your back end? Yes, but don't use it for a low ticket. Use it to promote your 1 to 2K offer.
Hey, Anik.
All right. Yes.
I I feel like I need to give you a break, man. In 2 hours and 10 minutes in.
Yeah, go for it, dude. We got a lot of questions. People are pouring in with them, so take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, my friend. And we'll bring you back on here very soon. Let's give it up for Anik here real quickly. Did he not pour his heart and soul and his in every ounce of strength and insight that he could possibly cram into this webinar here today? I think so. He ran a risk similar to me where we did a cardinal sin of webinars and we overtaught. We trained too much and we didn't, leave enough impulsive desire built up to make you want to purchase because we got you all dressed up and then sold you a ticket with a place to go. No. Here's what's interesting. After we shut this offer down, which you can get at Anik.academy for the short time that it's still available, we go into the laboratory, we polish the knobs and the levers and all that other stuff, and then we automate it and we put it out there in the wild. We probably will cut those things in place. We'll probably remove those things out of that because it will probably increase our conversions and sales long terms. But when we work with live audiences, first mover audiences, people that showed up at the very beginning, we tend to err on the side of too much education because we want to make sure that the value is captured. And we know that even if we showed 1/10 of what we showed, Anik and I, that people's minds would still be blown. So we err on the side of caution in terms of the awesomeness that we provide. And Anik totally killed it today. So I want to extend my gratitude and honor that man. And just did a phenomenal presentation. Now, here's what's cool about AI, and this is why I'm so excited about it. And then I want to answer some questions I saw in the chat. What's really cool about AI is normally we wouldn't even bring up all of these different areas because we wouldn't have a good answer for all of them. We could only answer and train and teach and instruct on a few areas. But now the answer is we have an AI for that. So let me show you this incredibly powerful, albeit very complicated process that generally would take years of blood, sweat, and tears in order to be able to master. And as a result, you have to make a tough decision. Do I do only this part or do I do that part? Because I can't do all of it because I don't have the capacity. Now with AI, you have the capacity. You really do, provided you have the prompts. The prompts are the key. And this is why we can teach unimpinged and we can just go out there and show you all the awesomeness without fear of overwhelm, because at the end of the day, the exclamation mark at the end of the sentence is, we have the prompts for that. Now, the prompts are this thing where it's like, if we have to stay up all night and a couple extra days working, testing, and using proprietary knowledge to perfect a prompt that you can use in minutes, that's a fair trade for us because we know we can offer those to you. And, just do the math. We have over 100 people that have signed up. You know the price point. We've already brought in over 106 sales last time I checked on it. And just run the math and conclude for yourself how much revenue that we've generated already from what we've done here. But we can generate that revenue because we have smart customers who understand the value of investment. So you can leverage what was far more expensive for Anik and I to develop on our own. Uh, if I could have paid somebody $29.97 to get all the prompts that I had to develop myself and bang my head against the wall, and neglect the wife and the kids because I'm staying up late working on these prompts. And trust me, I'd rather spend more time with them than you. I'm sorry. I would have happily traded the money for the prompts, but we didn't have them. We couldn't buy them, so we created them, and now we can offer to you. So you get a good deal out of the end, and we make it up because we reach the most of you as we possibly can. And so I have them on the webinar side, and Onik has them for the side that happens before and after the webinar. So this is a first of its kind. And Academy is where you can go to get it. Now let's talk about some questions. Okay. Christopher, I have your email. I after last week's webinar, I shut down for 3 days, unplugged, and questioned my life choices because I was so exhausted by the time we were done and the adrenaline wore off. So I will get back to that. So I will answer that privately with you. But let me let me answer some questions specifically, and if you could re-put them back in if I hadn't answered, that would help me because there's still a lot of people on, and I know we gave Anik all this love, and that kind of buried the questions for earlier. So Bobby says, how is this different than Russell Brunson's new offer? First thing is, I don't know what Russell's offering. I'm sure it's pretty good because Russell does an unbelievably good job with what he does. I will tell you this though, is if you read his book, Expert Secrets, the one that is quoted the most for webinars, that's not him. The third party most quoted expert in Expert Secrets is a guy named Jason Fladlien. I'll tell you another story. I was in a Uber with Russell one time. We were going to an event, and he turned to me and he goes, "You're the reason I wrote Expert Secrets." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "What you taught about belief shifting, that was the motivation for me to write that book." So, am I saying that I was an inspiration to him significantly in the area of webinars? I am 100% saying that on record. And I have no qualms in making that known and making that available. My attitude, though, is this: I am so pro consumer. I am so pro free enterprise. I'm so pro about capitalism. I think it's the greatest thing that's ever existed. My attitude is buy both, put them neck to neck, and then keep the one you like and return the one you don't. That's my attitude. My attitude is like how my wife shops. You can buy 10 dresses, try them on, and then keep the ones that her husband likes the most and return the rest. And by the way, businesses like that because then it stimulates the economy because then you get the one that you like. And if it's theirs, fantastic. Larry, good to see you. The San Francisco plastic surgeon. What's up, my man? I remember you. Yes. Uh, so Okay, do you think an education-based funnel has the potential to be scalable? I do. So here's the trickiness. So a webinar is a webinar, but it's not a webinar. I know that sounds awkward, right? So when you see Anik and I do these kinds of webinars, we tend to think a webinar can only be that thing, and it cannot be anything but that thing. But the reality is, if you take a webinar and you put it into a video and you use that to send to potential clients before they contact you, even if you don't serve it up in Zoom or if you don't serve it up in Webinar Jam or any of these other platforms that exist out there, if you just follow that structure, you will get more clients. I am 100% confident in that fact. And I am confident because, Larry, last time we ran into each other, it was in March, right? Were we where were we at? Were we in Vegas? I think we were in Vegas in March. I did not have these prompts in March. I just didn't have the deliverables yet that I had now. And I wasn't confident of when or if I was going to be able to ship. And same thing with Anik. I had no idea what Anik was cooking on his side of the equation. So if you ask me then, I would say, I don't know if you should be focusing on something like this. But if you ask me now, I say you should 100% be focusing on this. We do have what we call Let me come up with the best name for this. There's been three times in my career where I've created an offer so compelling I could sell it outside of my target market. Very rare the case. So once upon a time, I had an Amazon offer and I could bring it to chiropractors and they would buy it. I could bring it to life coaches and they would buy it. I could bring it to options traders and they would buy how to start an Amazon online business. Another time we had a financial offer that was so compelling, I could sell it to personal development crowds and I could sell it to numerologists and ones that were out of the normal target market. Once you have, in the rare instances where you have a completely killer offer, you can offer it to people who otherwise wouldn't be normally in the market for it. And I believe we have that here because of all the advanced AI stuff that we have is so multifactorial in where you could use it. Um, and so I think this would be a good deal for you, especially, money means different things to different people. So at a point in a time in my life, spending $100 was too much money. And at other periods of time, being cheap and not spending $3,000 for a solution was the most costliest thing I could do. And so I would suggest you consider that as well, based upon what kind of advantages. For you, Larry, if this only gives you a 1% edge, I think it would pay itself off significantly in droves. Uh huh. Yep. Yep. So there you go. Question: if you present an offer with a deadline in your webinar, what happens to the deadline if you send out three more PLCs after the webinar? So here's the really interesting thing about value. Uh, Value is limitless if you approach it with an abundance mindset. And I think it's really easy to get you to be in an abundance mindset when I give you the evidence that I'm about to offer you. So I can always come up with a new bonus. I can always come up with something new to add to the offer. And here's what's really exciting about this. My founding OGs, my members who buy with me right away, like some of you are going to see this in action. When you sign up at Anik.academy, and then we start adding new things to your members area as bonuses that we didn't tell you that we were going to create because we didn't know we were going to create them yet. We are going to create bonuses that we will give to people in the future when they buy the program. And you get those for free. They don't get all the bonuses you will get, but you will get other bonuses that you didn't anticipate. So if you launch an offer and you have a special bonus associated with it and it goes away, you can always replace it in the future with a different bonus. And the more important thing about that is the psychology of why people purchase. They often purchase because they don't want to miss out on something. This is called FOMO. And that's just how they make decisions. So we should always give them something that they benefit from saying yes to immediately and something that they miss out on if they don't say yes immediately. That's what these bonuses are. And so we always are rewarding the people who take action the fastest with the most stuff. We're backing them, but we're also helping people who should say yes but won't by giving them an additional incentive. And that's just a few ideas for you of the many that are available when you join us in the training program. It's also completely okay to say, listen, as long as you buy before the end of this webinar, then you get this deal. So then if they miss it and they come back to a future webinar and they're live, that's still true. You can buy by the end of this webinar and you get this deal. So there are a lot of ways that you can ethically use scarcity to increase conversion. It's funny is most people don't know these and they don't teach them to you because they use scarcity unethically in a non-compliant way, which is just it's insane. Frankly, it's crazy and it's stupid and it's risky. And so unfortunately, they can't teach you ethical scarcity that is compliant because they don't practice it. But my whole entire career, I've only practiced ethical compliant scarcity. So I have a lot of strategies that meet that criteria that are pro-consumer and also feel really good for you to implement as well. It's a great question, though. What payment processor do you use for your webinars other than Stripe? There's so many of them. What's really cool in 2025 is how you process payments is no longer the limiter. Like it used to be a big deal 15 or even 10 years ago. How do I take the money? How do I process the money? That has become really insignificant in today's uh, selling economy. And if you sell it the way that we teach to sell it, it's also very favorable to you for payment processors. They like this kind of marketing when you do it the way that we teach. versus other people who've gotten into payment processors issues in the past doing things that, hey, if I was the processor, I wouldn't want to process their payments either. So there's a lot of third-party platforms that can hook into different payment processors too. But if you ever run into any issues after you sign up at Anik.academy, you can always reach us out to support and drop a line to us there. Charles says, would webinars work for real estate investors and or wholesalers seeking to attract motivated buyers and sellers? Charles, not only would they work, I have two different consulting clients who do that very thing. And they do well enough to afford to pay my rather large consulting fees. I did a consult this morning for somebody in this space in Germany. So not just real estate investors in the United States. I have another client in the past that I did consulting for in France. So real estate in France, real estate in Germany. I have another one in the UK. Now that I have four because I have more than one in the US actually, historically and currently, that do exactly what you're talking about. Using webinars to sell real estate is one of the easiest things that you could actually use webinars for. New version, how to make a spud gun. You're funny. Yeah, Webinar Fuel with Anthony Morrison. I know Anthony. Anthony is an unbelievably great webinar presenter as well. And we've done webinars together in the past. Anthony, he's promoted me and I've promoted him. Very, very cool guy. I am pro every advantage you can have in the webinar space. I don't think, let me just say this, I don't think there's anybody you could learn from that's better than me at doing webinar presenting. Just a fact. And one of the reasons is because I've innovated every technique that I use. I've never learned it from anybody else. And a lot of other people who use techniques in their presentation have learned them from me. I have a very distinct style that you can't find from anybody else. So other people will learn techniques and then they'll optimize them. I invent techniques. And so that's why I've always been at the cutting edge. And then Anik, and this is what I love about Anik and why I've partnered with Anik, and I could have partnered with anybody else on this project, but I partnered with Anik, is because Anik has a way to get traffic that I know is the most accessible for you to model. So there are guys that can get traffic because they're okay with spending $1 million a month to saturate a single market, and they have a lifetime value of a customer that they could afford to wait 6 to 9 months to break even. And that's good for them, but if they taught you the model, you would die and go broke before you could ever turn the corner on it. What I love about Anik's models is they're very strategic. So they don't necessarily need a personal brand attached to them. Does a personal brand help? Always helps. Is it necessary? In my estimation, based on what I've seen through Anik and the way that he chooses to run advertisements, no, it's unnecessary. Plus, Anik has what nobody else that I really know has, is he publishes a lot of different offers and he's able to scale them through automation. And I think that's really incredible and really exciting. And so this is fun for us to connect together. I mean, you know, the guy is part of WebinarCon, which is the largest webinar conference, with our boy Ron Douglas running that thing over there. Keynoting, I'm keynoting it, I think, again, hopefully this year. I keynoted it last year. It was insane. It was awesome. So we kind of got our thumb on the market. We know it really well. And we're out there doing it. I did our webinar, but I just worked on another webinar for a client that crushed. And I was literally working with my team right now doing another webinar for a client that's around the corner. So we're pushing out multiple webinars in multiple categories right now as we currently speak, not just using webinars to sell our stuff. And we're in multiple markets, right? Alistair says, if we can't afford the Academy program, I'm based in South Africa. I'll be in South Africa in December. How would you advise we approach the takeaways from the 2 webinars? Yeah. So my attitude is always this. You either invest time or you invest money. And of the 2, what is more expensive? By the way, my AI will do this close for you once you sign up at Anik.academy. You either invest time or you invest money. Of the 2, what is more expensive? Unfortunately, you don't have the opportunity to invest money, so you must choose the more expensive option, which is time. But here's the motivator. You should use this to make this the last time you are only allowed to invest time. So extract and take the principles that we teach you today to make as much money as you can, as fast as you can with them. So the first purchase that you'll make with this newfound money is our program. That should be the goal. Having a goal will propel you towards success much sooner than not having a goal. So that's how I would advise you. But I know most people, I don't know your specific situation, Alistair, in being in different economies where, money is different, relatively speaking. I can't speak directly to that, but oftentimes people will use a money objection to masquerade a much deeper objection, and then they feel like it's okay not investing when they know deep down in their heart that they should invest. So for them, I give a different piece of advice, which is we got to figure out what's scary. Are you afraid that if you sign up at Anik.academy that, the boogeyman's going to break into your house at night and scare you? Like, what's going to happen? What's the worst that could possibly happen if this doesn't work out for you? So a lot of people are afraid to confront some of the more uncomfortable aspects of making investments in themselves and having accountability now additionally to their success and utilizing more resources, which means more responsibilities. And more responsibilities is scary. I don't want to take on more responsibilities either. But I also don't want to shrink in terms of my capacity to provide for myself, my family, for the marketplace. So both of those are painful. I just have to choose the pain that I'm okay with living with. And oftentimes the pain of the investment is easier to live with than the pain of the regret of what I can't do as a result of not investing. So that's something to chew on here as we continue to hang out together on this webinar today, Anik.academy. Thank you, Greg. Greg Ryder, by the way, I think it's the same Greg Ryder. I love what you're posting on Facebook, seeing you pictures next to all these famous guys. I'm like, that's my boy, Greg. Yeah. Kim asked about increasing show rates. So let me give two answers to that. So my personal favorite hack to increasing show rates is to give away something cool on the webinar. You got to make that compliant. That can be a little bit tricky, but the easiest way for people to show up is if there's a chance to win something. But my other favorite way is how do we make more money while decreasing show rate? That's also a fun thing to solve for. So oftentimes what people will do to increase show rates is make it easier for people to show up to a webinar. So they'll put less copy on the landing page, less copy on the thank you page. They'll write shorter emails. And whether or not the show rate increases, the conversion rate will inevitably go down. So some of my highest performing webinars, you're going to laugh at this, required a non-disclosure agreement to be signed before somebody was even allowed to show up to the webinar. And now all of a sudden it made it unique and it made it different and it called to somebody and made them prioritize, is this important to me or is this not important to me? So I think show rate is an overrated metric personally. I think what's more important is making sure the right person who should show up is clear to them that they should show up. So being okay with calling out a specific segment of a market and speaking directly to them, it might decrease your show rate overall, but it will increase the quality of the people who will show up. And I would rather have half as many people show up and be twice the quality of potential buyers than have twice as many people show up but be half as qualified. You'll make more money that way. So what we do is we get that target audience really locked in and showing up, and then we optimize and increase the show rate. This is really good. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So can we use it as a VSL? That's a fantastic question. You absolutely can use it as a VSL. I am a huge fan of VSLs. There's something in this marketing world that drives me insane, and it's called binary decision making. So if I am pro webinar, that must mean I'm anti every other media that ever existed to sell anything. And the answer to that is false, right? If I like to do live webinars, then that must mean I hate automated webinars. And the answer to that is false. I do automated webinars as well. I primarily use live webinars because my business model best benefits and my personal taste leans more towards live webinars. But I have worked with many clients that use automated webinars, and I've worked with clients that do hybrid webinars. Our answer is always yes. I like both. I am a huge fan of all of the above. So we will often do a webinar first, and then from that, create a VSL as an extension. Now, have I ever really taught that? I have not. This is why I'm so excited to have Anik as a partner here and have the whole team at Learn partner with us here at Rapid Crush. We're bringing two major businesses together because Anik is going to teach you how to extend funnels. It's insane to me. This isn't politics. You don't have to be pro red or pro blue or my side versus your side, right? This is apolitical. We'll put a webinar in front of them. If that don't work, we'll put a VSL in front of them. If that don't work, we can do a product launch sequence. If that doesn't work, insert other approach here. In the past, the biggest constraint to this was I got to hire 62 people to do this, and I got to find the right people that are talented enough to execute on this. And that's going to take a lot of time, effort, and energy because AI wasn't where it is now. And so now we have the ability to AI a one core killer sales message and then transform it into many and then put it out there. Let me really briefly teach you a concept. This will help you with the decisions you make. It will help you with the people you serve. It will help you in life. It will make you a much better entrepreneur. Would you like to know what it is? And it's called asymmetric risk reward. So I'm interested in the things that if I do them and they don't work, nothing bad happens. And if I do them and they do work, only good things could happen. So this is a perfect example of this. Hanging out with you here, talking with you, answering your questions. Worst case scenario is nobody buys. And I spend an hour or two trying to get you to buy and you don't buy. That's the worst scenario. Is that bad? No, because I get better at communicating to you. I get better at understanding your needs. We spend more time together. And here's a fact. If you and I spend more time together, that increases your chances of doing business with me in the future. So this means there is no downside to what we're doing other than an hour or two of my time. That's a cost I'm happy to pay because the upside is significant. The upside is huge. So if I add more slides after my formal presentation and I just put them there to help you even further after we've done all the other stuff, there's no downside of that because PowerPoint doesn't charge me by the slide. Zoom doesn't charge me by the minute. So there is no downside here. There's only potential upside. And so when you take a webinar and then transform it into a VSL and you add it to the end of your sequence, there is literally no downside to that. The worst thing that happens is people ignore it. And if they weren't going to buy, they weren't going to buy. The upside to that is you increase the exposure to you. You give a different media for people to consume. And sometimes that's the difference between them saying yes and not saying yes because they want to see it in this format and not that format. And you extend the sales cycle. And so there's only upside and there's no downside. So you need to optimize your business to be in asymmetric risk reward scenarios. The more times you're in places where only good things can happen and not bad things, and maybe the degree of good changes, could be a little win, could be a big win, could be a medium win, it doesn't matter. We stack wins and that creates momentum and that creates results. And so this is what's really powerful. So yes, you can extract a webinar and turn it into a VSL very easy. So I look at the webinar as the cornerstone of the campaign. And we can derive everything else from that because the webinar is the long form tool. Now, if I only had one tool to use, I would lean webinar 100%. But we don't have to have that decision. We can use all of it, and we should use all of it. Yep. Bobby says, what price point do you recommend using this model? Under 10K? In general, what you do is you look at the highest price point that a market will bear in a group setting. So this is different depending on the market, but it's pretty easy to find out. So whatever market you're in, what do the leaders in that market sell at the highest price for that don't require like one-on-one closing and one-on-one selling? That can be done in a one-to-many scenario. And if that price point is 2,500, then you sell at 2,500. You know that's the upper threshold of the price. If it's 5K, then you can go to 5K. So your goal is to sell at the same price point at the highest end that the market bears and then deliver twice the amount of value. So you're like, cool, they'll buy 5K and get half the value. So imagine when I put twice the value in. I will crush the market. I will outsell everybody because I've outvalued everybody. And I will maximize my profits because I'm reaching that high price point ceiling that the market can bear utilizing webinars. And then if you want to go beyond that, you have two choices. One is you can occasionally break through a price ceiling. So every single major winning campaign that I've done in history, with one exception, I was able to break past traditional price ceilings. But I didn't start there. I went to the normal price and just delivered twice the value. And then I pushed it from there. Or the other end is you could add to that. Like if you want to add personalization with one-on-one touch points, then you can sell at higher prices. I'm a more bigger fan. That's not my style. It works well. My style is to sell you a $2,000 product or a $3,000 product, have you love it, and then 10% of you will want to go to the next step with more personalization, more training, more customization, and then you'll buy the 10K or the 15K or the 20K on the back end. So I don't need everybody to pay the highest price point up front. I'm playing a long-term game here, and I would suggest that you do the same as well. So I like more accessible prices on the front end. I like things where you don't have to be an A plus in order to win. You could be a B minus and you can do really well. 1 foot hurdles, not 10-foot hurdles. So get a B plus or get a B minus on the front end, make customers happy, and then some of them will naturally say, what else can you do for me? And I'm willing to pay higher prices for further customization. And that's a real business, not just a marketing campaign. Anik.academy, if this resonates with you. Juan says, hey, Jason, what email marketing tool do you guys recommend to drive traffic, send reminders for webinars? Really, it doesn't matter too much. You want a tool that has a good reputation for landing you in people's inboxes. I am not such a stickler of whether I'm in the inbox or the promotions folder, and I'll tell you why. Because I will create marketing material with the webinar invitation, with the webinar hook to that audience where I don't need to be in any tab in order for you to open me. Because you saw that landing page and you said, this speaks exactly to me. This guy understands me. And so even if I land in the promotions tab, you're going to go over there and open it. That's my philosophy. So I start there because that's more important than everything. Prove it out, get the attention, make some money, make some sales, and then we circle back and we optimize the rest. So there's this principle in business that will serve you incredibly well, and we invest it into the webinars that we create. We solve major problems first. We solve minor problems second. So write that down. We solve major problems first. So a major problem is making sure I can reach the audience, get them interested, and have some of them buy from me. That's a major problem. Once we prove that, then a minor problem is, can we increase the amount of emails that will land in the inbox? And maybe we squeeze a point or two out, or 3 or 4 points out. And so all in due time. So we prioritize the most important things first. And then once we nail them, then we prioritize the second most important things, then the third, and then the fourth. So a really killer offer makes a lot of these inconsequential. A really killer offer doesn't need you to be hyper optimized at every step of the process. So you have the killer offer to get you 80% of the potential profits available right away, and then you optimize to get the other 20% over time. But so many people, they major in the minor stuff. And so they don't get it out the door because they make it too complicated, and then that makes them $0. Or B, they get it out the door, but nobody cares anyway because the minor stuff doesn't get people to buy. The analogy I give to you is they're so busy focusing on the spark plugs, not selling the car, because they want to get the spark plugs right. Nobody cares about the spark plugs. Just put a pair of spark plugs in there that work. When people buy a car, there's about 5 things that they care about when they purchase an automobile. And spark plugs ain't one of them. Any amount of spark plugs that are putting in there is probably going to do the trick, right? They care about more important issues to them, and that's what we need to master first. Then once we master those, then we can go to secondary, tertiary, other concerns as well. Bobby says, when you buy this, what other apps will you need to buy in order for this to work? So I have high level now. If you have high level, you have pretty much everything you need. Go High Level is such an amazing tool because it really is capable of running a whole entire business inside of a single tool. There are other ones that are similar. I'm a fan of Zoom because I like to do live webinars. Uh, and so Zoom is a tool that you could use. There are other third party webinar specific tools that you can use as well. And you can consider investing in the ones that make sense for you. We only use Zoom, flat out. I'll just tell you this right now. And you can run automated webinars through Zoom. It takes a little bit of manpower. If we use automated webinars, we just use a web page. We don't use any third party software. We use a set of web pages that are designed in a certain specific way, and that's how we do it. But generally, a webinar software will pay for itself because the amount of money that you make will make it unnecessary to worry about. But other than that, like I use Google Slides on my last presentation for Webinar Mastery Academy, and that's free. So we designed that. I'm trying to think of what other costs are involved. Most of the other costs are sunk because regardless of if you use webinars or not, you're going to need a web page builder. You're going to need emails that need to be sent out. So most of the other ones are just a cost of doing business. There is nothing here that you would need, I think, separately that would be dealer killers than what you would already have access to or that you'd already invest in. So hopefully that makes sense. JS says in the digital era, there's no real scarcity. That's an interesting take. I beg to differ, my friend. And if you need evidence of that, you can watch last week's webinar. We had real legitimate scarcity there with a deadline associated to it. If I launch a live training next week, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm doing a training coming up in a month or two. I laugh at the problems that I have, and I hope you have these problems one day. The problem is I have a killer idea that will instantly make me $250,000 in net profit the moment I launch it, and I haven't done it yet because I have other projects that I'm prioritizing on it. But I have this project that's coming up that I call Yes Engineer, where I'm going to teach 25 and only 25 people every technique that I know to close, period. Just closing. And it's going to be a super intense, super high level, super esoteric training that is only for businesses that are a certain size, 7 figures at least. And I already have a line of people that are dying to do that training. And that training's $10,000 an hour because when I pitch for clients, I charge them $10,000 an hour as a starting point. So every one of those businesses is going to pay me $10,000. I'm going to do it for 25 people live, and then it's done. And then I will never do that training live again. At least for 3 or 4 or 5 years, because I won't need to. I can and probably will sell the recordings later for less, although I don't have exact, concrete, definite plans on that. But you could never experience that live. And that is legitimate, real scarcity in the digital era. And if you don't think there's real scarcity in the digital era, just look at Bitcoin. The price goes up, it goes down one day. So there's a lack of imagination on how to do legitimate scarcity in a way that's empowering to both you and the consumer. That I do agree with. Yep. We will send out the recording to this webinar. It will be limited because the offer that we're making is limited here. We do one of my favorite things. We reward the people who show up immediately. So you've caught us on the freshest version of this, the least optimized version of this, the roughest around the edges, feeling it in the moment version of this. We love first movers, and we reward them with the most amount of stuff. So we're launching this. We're putting the recordings of this replay out. We're closing the doors for a while to then polish everything up and then launch it in an automated fashion. So you do get the best deal that will be available at Anik.academy. So we'll send out the recordings, but we will pull this offer off the market for a certain period of time before we roll it back out. And when we roll it back out, it won't be exactly the same as this. By the way, there's another version of scarcity for you as well. Anik.academy if you're ready to go get signed up right now. Okay, let's look at. So Jason, I love how humble you are. I have jokes about that, right? It's like the thing that's most impressive is how rarely I bring up my successes. That's how humble I'm teasing, of course. But this is all in good fun. Kim says, "What are some of your favorite hacks for increasing show rates?" Okay, I answered that. Hopefully, I am insane. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I have 66 new questions that I'm circling through to get to. By the way, I normally do not do it like this. Normally, I have a team of people that are flagging questions for me from people and giving to me in order, and I don't read the chat like I'm reading it right now. I don't know what's come over me, but I see 69 new messages that are beneath the fold from as I'm scrolling in the chat. So hang with me. I'm going to get to them all. I promise you that. I would tell him to get money from a friend and pay him double after you make the money from the academy, and you will. That's an interesting strategy. I wouldn't want to pay 100% interest rate, so I would negotiate it better than that. But I certainly, if I was in a position, and I've been in that position, where I went to somebody else and say, "Hey, listen, you got the money, I got the energy. Let's work on this together and combine the two of them. I want to take this training program. Will you finance me? Here's what I'm willing to do for you." So that's an example of being resourceful to unlock resources. And that's really good. Sam says, "Do you have clients doing webinars targeting architect and engineers to get them using a construction product for the projects they design?" Not exactly, but somewhat similar to that, Sam. I have a couple clients in the construction space. One of them is killing it right now, selling AI in the construction vertical. They are doing numbers that if I quoted them to you, you would call me a liar. They're astounding how big they are. Because construction is a great industry to be in because big money moves all over the place. People don't bat an eye when you're quoting $1 million projects in that space. What a price anchor. I love that, right? So I have a couple different clients in the construction space. I have another person that I know, he's not a client, but they approached me to be a client. I end up not being able to work with them, but they sell, remember Meta? Like when they were making fun of the metaverse, the Facebook digital AI world that everybody used as a butt of a joke. They're killing it right now, creating 3D metaverse renderings to sell commercial construction, crushing it, utilizing webinars. They hired me because they wanted to or they tried to hire me to want to optimize the webinars further. Yeah, so it's you would be blown away if you could be me for a day and know what I know and see what I've seen. Your whole world would change because you would be astounded by the amount of people that are using webinars effectively in all of the different areas that they're using them in. I did 2 consults this morning. So my day started freshly at 8 a.m. Pacifically. I had a consultation that went an hour, and then right after that, I had another consultation that went 2 hours. I did 3 hours of consultations this morning specifically around helping clients optimize webinars. I don't even remember exactly the topics, but one of them was a German company that was utilizing webinars very successfully and wanting to grow. And the other company, I can't remember what they were doing, but they were using a VSL funnel right now, and they were making $2.5 million a month, I want to say, something stupid like that. And they're like, "I think it's time for us to use webinars now because we know that we're very limited." This is funny, right? We are limited in growth because we're only doing 2.5 million a month. And so they hadn't done the webinar yet, but they gave me the outline and the idea and the concept around the structure of the webinar that they were thinking. And they wanted my feedback on that. So that was 3 hours today. Another way to put it is that was $10,000 today that I made just to start my morning, with both clients wanting then to do additional work. That was just today, right? So it is amazing where I see webinars being applied very successfully across multiple industries, in multiple nationalities, and multiple languages, right? Alistair says, "Will you be able to provide a doc of your prompts for your first webinar?" Nope. I ain't giving them away that easy, baby, right? I'm playing hard to get here, right? You got to take me out. You got to wine and dine me. You got to treat me right. If you want those first prompts on that first webinar, you are going to have to screenshot them all. I will make you earn them because if you earn them, you will use them. And I want you to use them. I don't want you to collect them. And so you can earn them one of two ways. You invest in this training and you get them all, plus a whole bunch more I didn't show you, or you get them for free, but free has a cost. And I want you to know that. And I want you to understand that point for two reasons. One, I want you to understand that because that will help you in your business. But I also want you to understand that so you can help other people that you reach. Because the worst thing that ever happens, in my opinion, in business, is you allow people that should have said yes to say no. Because that doesn't help them. Does not help them. You allowed them to be the lowest version of themselves that can get by, when they were looking towards you to help empower them to be a better version of themselves to succeed. And that's why I take this so serious. And that's why I want to work with you. And that's why I push so hard with love and with kindness and with intensity. Because these are high stakes here, right? This isn't Bridge Club on a Friday night. This is your business we're talking about here. So, yeah. I digress, though. Yeah. Yeah. I did notice on your thank you page you told people to show up. This could be a strategy in and of itself. Yeah, I mean, here's the basic ways to increase show rate. Basic way to increase show rate is tell them what's gonna happen. Give them the expectation in advance. When you show up on this webinar, here's what you can expect. Here's why this is different than other webinars. Here's why it's important that you attend live. And here's what we're gonna do live that won't be on the replay. And if you do that, that gets you 90% of the way there with 5% of the effort, right? Yeah. And I get it. For some of you, this is a tough investment. First of all, let's be real with each other here. If you say I can't afford $3,000, that's not what we're asking for here. One of the reasons why we make an installment option versus a one-time option is to allow you to finance it over a period of time. So $697 is all you have to think about. If you were seriously saying, I would do this for any other reason except for the money. Now we could talk about, is this a good use of $697 or not? I'd be happy to have that conversation in a little bit. But really, the investment for you, if money is tight, is $697. Does that make sense or not? Not $29.97. Those are further problems in the future for other days. Like, let's figure out how we can get in first, and then we can figure out the rest later. So that's the first thing from an investment standpoint, is it's $697, which is still a lot. And again, it's not one time, it's multiple times, and you will pay a penalty by financing it over a period of time. Now, here's what's interesting. I've tested, your boy Fladlien has done it all. I've done it all before you even knew what the word webinar was, a lot of you. Once upon a time, at about 2010, I started testing very extensively one pay options, installment, and one pay options, installment only options. So I literally did a series of webinars where I would not allow anybody to pay in full at once. The only option would be 4 installments of $99 or whatever we were selling back then, right? And then I personally am not a fan of payment plans. That's just me, okay? I am not a fan of it. I would rather say it's $29.97 or nothing. But every time that we've done that, we have not impacted as many people. So I put my personal feelings aside when it comes to installments and financing plans, because I realized my personal feelings were limiting my capacity to serve the market. And so this is, after all that testing, we landed back where we started, which is either or. Take care of it all at once for $29.97 or 5 installments of $697. Now, the separate conversation is, if money is so tight, is it responsible or irresponsible for you to invest $697? That's a different conversation. And we can and will impact that here in a little bit. That's a whole different set of psychological considerations, though. But strictly from if I want something and it makes sense to me and it's right in my head and it's right in my heart, and I feel that I'm responsible enough to figure out how I can finance it, and that makes sense to me, and I'm so electrified by what's available to me, then I make the investment. And I'm not asking you to do something I've never done, because I've done that before. But if it's a matter of there's an uncertainty of whether this makes sense for me now at this time in this place, then we're not talking money anymore. We're talking other factors, like what would it take for me to be successful? Am I in the right conditions to utilize this as effectively as possible? What's the likelihood of me implementing and following through on this? Those are other questions, and I'm sure we're going to cycle back through and get to some of those. Okay. What advice would you give for a newbie who's just starting out in online marketing? So, my advice, Fu Wing, is to learn how to make compelling offers. Because if you have a compelling offer, driving traffic becomes insanely easier. Because here's the first compelling offer you can make to somebody. You can go to them and say, hey, listen, I call this the Statue of Liberty close, by the way. Because if you go to the Statue of Liberty, here's what she says. She says, give me your poor, give me your sick, give me your unwashed huddle masses, and I will sell them. I think that's the last line that she says. No, I'm kidding. But the whole attitude is you can go to a business and say, give me all the leads you can't convert. I will work 100% of the time. And whatever leads that I can convert, I will give you 100% of the money. I will do all the work. You will make all the money. All I ask is if I'm able to pull off this near impossible task, then you sit down with me and we have a conversation when I'm done proving my worth to you in ways in which we can work together where you will compensate me. And that's a killer offer. And that doesn't require you to be rich and successful in order to make it. That doesn't require you to have 167 years of experience. That doesn't require you to have all sorts of other things you don't have right now. That requires you to be creative enough to know how to articulate an offer too irresistible to say no to. And where can you learn to make offers like that? Well, you go to Anik.academy, because at the heart of every webinar is an incredible killer offer. And there's not a better training out there that I can give to you on offers than this. And what's cool is when you make that offer, the implementation you do for those clients is you create a webinar for them. You create a webinar for them. And now you are learning on the job. You are learning with real stakes. What better way to learn? To be in the environment that you can make money, not in the laboratory. So that's what my feeling is on that. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Appreciate those. Yeah. I remember seeing you, Greg, at WebinarCon last year, right? Closing 15 to 40% attendees before Jasonizing it. Now I want to automate it, but getting stuck on the urgency strategy, tech for urgency. Greg, let me ask you a question, man to man, friend to friend, right? Because I don't believe you bought the offer when I made it at WebinarCon. I think I closed about 30% of the audience, which makes me feel really good because that's a hard audience to close, right? This is like a comedian performing his routine in front of other comedians, right? Like this is the highest pressure environment. And you can ask Anik, and you can ask Ron at the WebinarCon. They're like, yeah, people don't close here. Like this is a hard room to sell. So I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do. And I don't think you signed up last year, Greg. And I keep this in my head as I love you, but I thought you should have bought back then, and you didn't. So now we are again here to rectify the situation. And I believe that the answer that you will seek is inside of the training program that you can invest in at Anik.academy. So I think you will find very lovingly the answer to the urgency strategy for automation. I do think it's a smart move for you to do automation because you're in this interesting space where you're not getting a lot of people live on, but you're making a lot of money from the ones you get on live. So automation is the logical step. And I think in this program, you will get answers to not only the question you ask, but to really a lot of other questions you don't even know to ask yet when it comes to transitioning to an automated webinar. Because it's similar, but it's not the same as a live webinar. There's some key distinct differences between the two, and you want Anik teaching you what those differences are. There's not a better person I know of to do that, and he will provide you for that. So you can Jasonize it, and you can also put it in the right container for the automation webinars. And I'm going to look through the customer records after this cart closes. I'm going to specifically look for your name, Greg. And if you ain't on it, man, you're killing me, son. You're hurting my feelings, man. We got to get you in there. Like, what can I do to get you to say yes? I'm serious and sincere. And I have 99 plus messages that I'm still going through. So I'm going to see if I'm going to have somebody be able to highlight that for me and circle back to see if I can see your question in a little bit.
Yeah, Jason,
You there, Will?
He joined last week.
Oh, he did. All right. So I'm selling somebody who's already bought.
Hey, like you said, there's no risk to that, right? You're selling somebody.
Yeah, I don't think I unsold you, did I, Greg? But I'm very let me be real. I'm very happy that you're in because I don't know. I wish I knew everybody here personally. If I did, then I could be very direct on you should buy or you shouldn't buy. I know Greg personally, and I've known Greg for years. Fantastic guy, amazing guy. And I'm very happy now to put him on my list of customers that I can help. And I'm excited about that. So, but I will tell you, did this help somebody else make a decision to invest? Hopefully it did, and I think it did. And this is the value of webinars. One of my favorite things about a webinar is when you talk to somebody, somebody else can buy. Because sometimes the best way to help somebody is not to speak to them directly, but to speak to the person next to them. Because then your defenses go down. If it's me talking directly to you, sometimes you try to protect yourself. And sometimes it's hard for you to hear what needs to be heard because it feels like an attack against you, right? But when I speak to the person next to you, you're more likely to objectively hear advice that's sound and beneficial to you, and then you're more likely to respond to it in a way that will serve you. And this is what the beauty of the webinar model is, one of many, many, many beauties. You know, my joke is every year I've tried to quit webinars, but I've never found anything better. So as hard as webinars are, they're the easiest hard thing that ever exists. It's like saying democracy is the worst, best system. It's the worst system except for every other one that's been attempted and tried. Is it perfect? Nope. Show me something better. I will happily quit doing webinars today. I can find something that can outperform webinars. It's been 18 years. I haven't found it yet. And hey, I had to learn the hard way. I didn't have somebody to invest in when I started because there was not a single course on the market on how to do webinars. So we had to create it, Anik.academy. Are you in? Let's go, baby. Let's go. Some people bounced out because I can see their names are white now and they're not blue, meaning that they're no longer here. So I'm going to skip through some of their questions. And if they come back on, ask them again later. I mean, well, how would you know? You wouldn't be here. So Fu Wing says, hey, Jason, my problem is I still have to monetize the tools that I bought in the past. Still trying to figure out how to generate and convert the traffic. Yeah. So let's parse that real quickly, Fu Wing, right? If the belief is I first have to monetize things I bought in the past before I invest in new things, do you see how that could potentially limit you? Perhaps as an alternative perspective, let me offer you this. What if the thing you invest in now unlocks new capabilities in previous tools that you've invested in and haven't found to be able to work yet? So sometimes the way we can make something in the past more valuable is to connect it to something new that we invest in the present. Let me throw another perspective at you, all right? What if the new thing you invest in the present is so powerful you don't even need to recoup your investment on the past tools? Because the thing you've invested in now is so powerful, it renders past tools obsolete, okay? What you want is the result. What you care less about is the tools specifically that get you there. So tools that don't work, you don't get credit if you use the wrong tool twice as much. In fact, it's worse to use the wrong tool any second longer than you need to. You feel me on that? Also, some tools are useful but incomplete without other tools. So like if you've ever tried to put together IKEA furniture and they only gave you half the hardware, yeah, you might have had the screwdriver, you might have had the Allen wrench. But if you needed other tools as well, that doesn't make the screwdriver and the Allen wrench obsolete. And it doesn't mean that you're a failure because you can't put it together with only half the tools. Sometimes you need more tools, and that increases the value of all the tools. So I just offer that up to you gently to consider to help you make a decision in your investment. Because if your whole decision-making process is, I bought things in the past I haven't made money with yet, and therefore I will not invest in myself until I make money with those things, that is a difficult approach to success, my friend. If the tool is the right tool, you should invest in it independently of other decisions you made in the past to invest in other tools. And if that makes sense to you, you can get it at Anik.academy. Okay. On Andrew says a bit off topic with the webinar funnel. If we're completely vibe coding our entire funnel, we have vibe coding it. What would be the most important tracking mechanisms to have in place? My personal opinion is this. I track first and foremost on the campaign level. This is how much money I made per person, per lead that went through my campaign. So a campaign has a cycle. We start promoting the campaign at this time, and we are confident to call the campaign at this time. And then we can determine the value. And then from that, we have secondary analytics. So open rates, I don't really care about them. Show rates, I don't really care about show rates. I know that sounds insane, because what we're optimizing for is how many people can we get to invest in a certain period of time. So if I front load and put all the pressure on people buying right away, I'll get some of them, but I will churn more people off. But if I allow it to be nurtured over a period of time, I'll get some of them soon, I'll get some of them in the middle, and I'll get some of them at the end. And then I can step back and I can look, oh, okay, this is what's valuable over the life cycle of the campaign, not necessarily this one particular metric, like a conversion rate on a webinar even, right? More important to me is it's just a metric of, I expect to be able to get this many customers if I serve the market as best as I can in this period of time. So let me serve the market as best as I can in this period of time. And do I get that many customers? If so, great. If not, then I troubleshoot. What's the one thing that stopped me from getting customers? What's the biggest constraint? Let's fix this. Now, what's the biggest constraint? Let's fix that. And this is how you work your way to very successful campaigns. Mark. Mark's still here. Mark Helton, by the way, man, dude, looking good, man. Slim down. I think the last time we saw each other, Mark, I think you came to Valencia. You were working with car dealerships. Tell me if that's the case. I think we sat down, you, me, and Will. I think we had a conversation on that. Because he says I could cancel my GoToWebinar deal after 13 years. Hey, brother. We have clients still using GoToWebinar to this day to rock seven-figure webinar campaigns. GoToWebinar, Zoom, all that kind of stuff. Here's a crude analogy for you, but sometimes crude analogy makes the point. If the woman's ugly, a nice dress doesn't make her pretty. She's still ugly, right? So GoToWebinar might be a nicer dress or a more uglier dress than Zoom is, but the person wearing it is the most important thing. In this case, this weird metaphor is the presentation matters more than the platform you use. Presentation over platform. Give me a killer webinar presentation and I can put it in any platform and I'll make money. And then maybe I'll make a little bit more when I optimize it later in Zoom or what have you, right? And this is true for a lot of other things. Like, should I use Go High Level? Should I use ClickFunnels? Should I use Kajabi? Should I use that? Should I use that? Should I use that, right? Let's get the presentation solid. That's the $100 bills. And then we can optimize for the nickels and dimes later. Feel me on that one? So we got to prioritize what's important. Now, here's a little psychological principle for you. People typically only ask the questions that they are aware of. So if you ask a whole bunch of people, hey, what's your number one question about webinars? Here's one of the answers you're going to get, or one of the questions. What time of day should I run my webinar? Because they understand time of day. That makes sense to them. They don't know what questions to ask because they don't know the big questions from the small questions. So if you have a really good offer and a really good webinar, you can run it at any time of day that's reasonable. From 9 in the morning till 9 at night. And you'll do really well. And then once you do really well, you can optimize. Well, what happens if we run it at 7 or 6 or 5 or 4? And maybe you squeeze out a couple different points there. But you got to prioritize. And this is what we're giving you. Yep. JS says advertising is your real cost. Our real cost is our inability to roll the market out as fast as we possibly can, to get to the market as fast as we can. The cost is always opportunity. It's never advertisement. Because if you have a really good offer, you will make more back than you advertise. Our real cost is we don't have enough time in the day to serve as many markets as we could possibly serve. So we have to serve the market that we can reach today and then use that to help us serve another market that we could reach tomorrow. And so that is the cost. Now, on a physical cost, if you want to spend money on advertisements to grow your webinars, you totally can. Otherwise, you're going to spend time because you can do it purely with social media. You could do it purely with joint venture marketing and not have to pay any advertising. But everything we'll put it as a mixture of time, energy, and money. But I don't see another model that is the most efficient way to get a huge return on the time, money, and energy that you put in. And once you learn the principles here, then they can be applied to other models. Like if you only knew short form strategies, short form content strategies to make money, you really can't apply them to long form content. You really can't. But once you understand long form strategies like webinars, then you can derive from them short form strategies. So one gets the other, but the other doesn't get the one. And so I think this is another reason why webinars are so valuable. Can I join today? Absolutely. Come on in, my friend, Anik.academy. Okay. JS, we'll just have to disagree. JS is 100% certain that there's no such thing as scarcity in the digital age. So we'll just have to disagree on that one. Yeah. Okay. What type of webinar software do people use when they respond to questions on an evergreen webinar? Vivian, good question. So there are a couple ways you can do that. One way is you can have a box that people can put in and we'll send an email to you and then you can email them. You could also use a chat agent with AI if you want to get more sophisticated with it. Oftentimes for V1, when we do evergreen, we just don't have a way that people can put questions in. They just are attended to the webinar itself with no questions box. And then if that works, then we can figure out how to add the tech later to do the questions. You can use software. There's software that allows you to have a chat, and then you could watch the chat and reply to it live, or you could have somebody reply to it for you live, or again, you could have AI apply it. But you can do very well with webinars that have no chat boxes and no questions, because a really good presentation can sell without interaction. And that's what we want to first get. And then we can add the other stuff to it. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Remind Anik to share the prompts he said he would share after this webinar close. I want to try them out. I think you said something earlier, Anik, if you're around, about sharing some prompts.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I will share because mine were too big. I wasn't giving enough time for them to catch it. So I will share mine. Jason will not share his. And I promise you guys one thing. I will not do this ever again. And it's only going to those who were live today. So I'm not going to share them with anybody else at all. So hey, I have a question. Give Jason a breath here. How many of you are on right now and you're still thinking about joining us for this mission of getting your webinar done, your funnel done? Give me a number 1 in the chat. I would like to see how many of you are still in the process of making that decision. It's quite a few people that are coming through. Wow. Okay. I would love an opportunity for some of you. We will not say your name. Okay. We'll just like read initials. If you don't mind, so many of you that have said one, can you share why? What's the holdup? What's got you pausing? What's got you stopped? Allow Jason and I an opportunity to answer your direct concern. And we might just surprise you because we might end up agreeing with your concern. We might say, oh, you know what? That's a very valid reason. Don't join. And which could make your decision much easier. Or we may have a great answer for you as well that could really help you with that decision. But do share with us what's possibly holding you back from this decision. Yeah, so let's see what people say. All right, good question here. What's the most common reason evergreen funnels don't convert for a client, and how do you fix it? Honestly, it could be a multitude of things. Most common reason is just not having properly addressed some of the objections or concerns. Honestly, it's a matter of having missed the boat with what's really on someone's mind and not aptly offering them a solution that they believe they can implement. And so you do a bit of you turn around, you go back, you read the questions, you look at the objections, and you say, okay, where did I miss the boat? Right. And when both Jason and I started even our webinars, it was like, hey, this is a bit of an experiment. And I have just loved the questions you guys are asking because it's going to absolutely help me recraft how I deliver this message. And that's exactly, Alan, what I would share with you. Um, all right. I got a bunch of other questions that came in. Um, I think that Jason, you've done a brilliant job addressing some of the concerns and questions around price and around being able to buy it. That's here's my take on it, everybody. Um, it's what you make of it. If you focus on the price, you're going to focus on the price. If you focus on what it potentially empowers you with, the knowledge you get, and if you focus on the fact that it's 40 years of experience compressed in one location, in one place for you to grab, you have to decide, is it worth more to you? Is it more valuable to you to spend the next few years, and I mean that, few years, deciphering all of this information on your own and discovering it on your own? Or is it worth more to you to have the team, to have the people that have done it, that have spent 40 years doing it, and invest with them? So you have to figure out, where do you make more? Not spend more, but where do you make more? I have my answer to that, but I'm going to let you guys reach your answer um, yourself. So, all right. Just looking at some other stuff here. And we are going to wrap up here soon as well. So let's Jason, what do you think? Do some more questions? Do you see some other more questions you really want to address?
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it's
you
tough
see
because they pile up as they do when we have so many people on, and the
Yeah.
questions typically take longer to answer than they do to ask.
Yeah. Okay. So Raj, I'll answer this one. Raj, great question. I saw you asked this earlier too, Raj, and I want to address it. He said, "Is the offer from last week available today, where I will be able to get help on my webinar to have it reviewed?" Um, so Raj, yes, but with a caveat. To be fair to those who took action last week, what we decided to do is we created a second class, all right, a second cohort, so to say. So we will be happy to extend it to additional people that take action before we close this offer. However, the people that were part of cohort 1 that joined on Jason's webinar will get priority in review. So we're going to go through theirs first. Now, look, everyone's going to be on their own timeline. Some people will take longer, some people will take less time. So, Raj, if in between we have openings because we're waiting for cohort 1 to send us something, we'll dip into cohort 2 and say, okay, who's got something? So, Raj, the short answer is yes, it is. But to be fair to the offer and to be fair to those who took action, we have to create 2 cohorts. That's all. All right. We have someone saying, unfortunately, Anik, I couldn't attend your session. No problem. There is a replay boon. We will send that out. Please do watch it. All right. Are the other bonuses to be added later? Amit, good question. There's a ton of things that we're going to be adding in time. The worst thing we could do to you right now, Amit, is give you all of it and just dump it on you. You guys need to focus on Jason's training right now. Mine's coming. And look, a lot of the training that I want to do for you, it's already there. I have it because I've done it for my $30,000 mastermind group. But I just don't want to put it in there right now. I need you to focus on creating a killer webinar. I need you to implement what Jason teaches, because none of what I teach is none of what I teach is going to be powerful unless you have a great webinar. JS, Anik
Hey,
just proved there's
there's
no
a
real
question,
scarcity.
Anik, I really would love to answer quickly.
Yes.
Question
Go
goes like
for it.
this: Can this work with a $997 offer with no coaching, no back end, just a digital course? Would AdSpin kill all profits? This is my biggest reason for not having jumped in yet. If that is the case, my friend, you will love this answer. And if you are telling me the truth, which I sense that you are, then I believe you will sign up after I give this answer to you. Okay? So if you are running advertisements and you want to scale your offer, then you will need more than a single $997 offering, with one exception. And that is if like you're in a complete blue ocean. Like I have a client, they teach basically how to make an balloon arrangement business. I'm not joking. And they're a one of one and they kill it and they don't need all kinds of complicated funnels. But I don't want you to do that because blue oceans are difficult. They're hard. They're like unicorns. They're very rare. So here's the other answer. And Onyx said this on the last webinar, the webinar that I did, is before you go straight to paid traffic, like right out of the gate, if you haven't had experience with that, your best place to start is with affiliates. These are people that have existing audiences that you partner with, and then you split the profits. So if you can go to somebody and say, hey, listen, I got this thing. I'll do all the work. I'll sell the whole thing to your audience. It's a perfect fit for your audience, and we'll split whatever money that comes out of it. Those are deals that cost you $0 up front. You only pay out a profit, and they don't require you to have a back end because you're not financing it up front. And those are, by the way, the best ways to prove any webinars is either with your own audience, and if you don't have that, then somebody else's audiences. If you can't make that work, you will probably not make paid advertising work. If you can make that work, then you will have so much insight into how effective your webinar is that you will not be able to help yourself from creating the upsells and the cross sells and the other material that comes out of it. And you will probably automatically be creating the higher end version because whoever buys from you, 1 out of 10 of them will essentially want a more premium version right away. So it would be foolish for you not to already creating the upsell, even if you still weren't going to run paid ads, because your existing audience who just bought your front end would buy the same thing again if it had a little bit more specific deliverables to their situation, had more documentation around certain topics, and it went even further. It had more personalization. So if you could never run ads, ever, for whatever reason, and you could only sell your $997 offer, and you couldn't have coaching or a back end or anything else attached to it, I would still tell you to go sign up at Anik.academy, because what you can just do from partnerships alone and from joint ventures and from affiliates and from social media is a lot. Has the possibility of being a lot. Let's just put it this way. I make no claims. I make no promise of any income whatsoever. What I just do is try to help you put yourself in the circumstances that are most favorable to you and your business. And you certainly can do very well without any paid advertising ever when it comes to having a really good offer with a really good webinar to an audience where all you do is joint ventures, all you do is affiliates, all you do is social media, and you never do paid, and you don't have any complicated funnels. 90+% of the offers that I make are single offers. They don't have any upsells, any downsells. They don't have any front end. They don't have any back end. They're just the webinar and what you get. Most of my offers, they're just one offer. Now with Anik, we're going to build out the back end and we're going to do some stuff here because we are going to be spending an insane amount of money. I think our goal, Anik, is $200,000 a month in ad spend. We're going to want to roll up to that. That's probably the saturation point of the market. We will need to do things in order to recoup ad cost. That's just a function of the business. But this is big league stuff. This is like Game 7 NBA final stuff, right? This is final boss kind of stuff. This is what you can aspire to get to one day. But I started selling a $197 product on a webinar without paid advertising. And that's where I started. And then I grew up into the things that we do now. So that's my endorsement.
And I want to
let me know if that works for you.
Jason,
if
I
you
want to
sign up.
clarify.
Yeah, go ahead, Anik.
Yeah, I want to clarify one thing. I didn't start doing ads until 2017. I did my first webinar back in like 2011. So for 6 years or maybe even 7 years, I never did ads. We literally were doing just what Jason just mentioned. Marketing the webinar to our list, driving some traffic from social media and affiliates. And it wasn't even until 20, and I grew that to an 8-figure business. And it was incredibly profitable and was awesome. I loved it. What happened after doing it for 7-8 years was just innately me looking for a different path of not having to be on live as much and having to figure out evergreen And so we started testing with this idea of paid traffic. But by then we were successful. We had capital. We knew we had a strong webinar. We understood we had those tested mechanisms, a superb offer. And so then we went and rolled it out. But one of the core questions we always get is, hey, how do we scale? And so what I'm teaching is how you scale, but it has to come after everything else. You can't rush it. It's just not rushable. But at the same time, I don't want to deprive everybody of not teaching that inside of Webinar Mastery Academy. That's one of the things that Jason and I are the most proud of, is that we're not going to create that next level upsell where we say, okay, great, here's the first level. We'll teach you all of this. And then if you really want to scale it, then you got to pay us more money. We wanted to build the ultimate, we wanted to build something that we know for a fact. And I'm looking you guys in the face and telling you, there is nobody that can compete with Webinar Mastery Academy. There just isn't. They don't exist. We would know who they are. There is no one with this level of knowledge of building an amazing webinar that converts and then tying that in with a scalable set of frameworks to scale it. And what's cool is it literally is it's a menu. You pick where you want to stop. You go as much as you want to go. And at what point you don't do what you don't have to do all of it. I meant to say it's a buffet. So you get to pick what you want. If you tell me you want to go the full 9 yards and you want to go and scale and do something huge, great. We have what you need for it. And if you tell me, hey, I would rather do a lifestyle business, don't want to get into ads, don't like this stuff, don't want to do the back end, superb. We show you how to do that too. Just need to accept that there are certain things like you can't do ads if you don't do a few things. And that's just where Jason and I, our responsibility is to be honest, upfront, truthful, and be coaches to you, not feed you with a bunch of BS. And so know that you're not supposed to do everything we're doing. Know that that's not the right way. As a matter of fact, Jason and I both independently in our businesses do things fundamentally differently because we have different skill sets and we lean in on those skill sets. Now, it's just one thing that when we come together, we found, ooh, that could be very interesting because those two skill sets come together, opens up a new world to us. So, but I love his analogy. We're playing the finals. I mean, this is top four, in the semifinals, finals type of level game of NBA. So we've built up to it. We've been in training for 20 years each.
Yeah.
So
And the cool
very
thing is,
important
Anik, is we have the ability to meet you where you're at. So if you are brand new, I am confident you could take Anik.academy and start there and develop your first webinar presentation. And hey, you're starting with the best. That's not typical. Normally you start with the worst and then you learn a little bit and then you find the best because they're hidden behind the person who's hidden behind the person who's hidden behind the person. So if you're at the beginning, we can accommodate you. If you're in the middle of your journey where you got a little bit of success or some success and you want to multiply that and you want to up level your skills, you're going to find something useful here. If you are a pro and you just haven't started advertising yet, and that's the next logical step, we got you. If you've only done live and you haven't converted to automated yet, we got you. So I am 100% confident that regardless of the level of business that you're at, there's going to be something incredibly useful for you that will more than justify your investment at Anik.academy.
Amen. All right. Yvonne says, I joined last week. However, Onyx bonuses keep saying coming soon. Yvonne, we just addressed this. They're there. And they're coming soon only as a byproduct of how we want you to go through it. Don't worry. I'm going to be delivering a lot of my training also through live classes. So you have an opportunity to engage with me and ask me a lot of questions. And they're all going to be getting added. But the worst service I could do for you right now is to dump all of Jason's amazing training and mine onto you. So it's just too much. You've got to get this process right. You've got to get his webinar formula down. I want everyone to understand most, if not all of it, is all done because I've done this training at great lengths for my mastermind. So we have it. I just would hate to distract you into that. Now, if there's someone that's like, hey, man, I'm ready to go. Like I've already got a great webinar. I've been, I checked off all the boxes with Jason. I'm ready to scale. Okay, great. And like message us and we'll get you into the rest of it. But when we say coming soon, we're talking like the next couple of weeks. It's all going to get added in there. I just really wanted to give everyone a first go with Jason's stuff. And then a core part of my funnel training, I want to actually do it live. So we're going to announce a live schedule and then the replays will be made available as well. Um, Greg, I don't know the exact times yet. So we'll figure that out. We'll release the schedule. Typically, I like to do my trainings during the day. I don't do them in the evenings. This is a difficult time for me with kids and everything. To do them in the evenings, I leave my poor wife home alone with two toddlers running around. So but yeah, I just want to address that one more time. That it's all coming, guys. It's all going to be in there. But right now, you really are supposed to focus on Jason's. You need to go through that because there's a lot of elements there. All right. Jermaine, the prompts will be there tomorrow. The ones I did, Jason's are not going to be shared. Mine will be for a short window. And we'll send that out. We don't have that. We didn't have the document prep because we weren't planning on sharing it. That was a decision I made halfway through the webinar. So
Yeah,
give us a
those are
day.
for
A
just
little bit
for
patient.
free, right? If you've signed up for
Yep.
Webinar Mastery Academy, all my prompts are in there in the
Oh yeah, of
program.
course. And mine are too, of course. All of
Yep,
them. And then some. A bunch
and
more
then
that
some.
we'll
Yeah, and then some.
All right. Any burning questions that could help someone right now make a decision, especially let us know. This may very well be the last time you engage with us in a live environment prior to us closing out the founders group, which we will announce when that is happening tomorrow. It's only going to be a few days from now. So the time is a ticking. And yes, we're not saying that you'll never get to be in it ever again, but at very different terms. All right.
Man, Anik, I'm looking at my schedule. I have 3 hours of consults tomorrow with webinar clients. And then I do a whole training on Wednesday, and then Thursday I have 2 hours of consulting with clients, and then I blocked off Friday for deep work. Otherwise, they would be there too. Um, I do. I don't get to do this as much anymore. This is why this is happy to me. Like I struggle with this. My success has put me in a lot of really powerful circles, but it doesn't allow me to get out in public as much and do things like this as much as I wish I could. So I really do enjoy being here today. But what's really cool is when I get out here, I can report of findings to you, all of these different clients that I work with. Like my client tomorrow, his offer, his webinar offer, he teaches people how to sell high ticket e-commerce. That's his hook. That's his angle. So selling $20,000 saunas and things like that and getting a commission as an e-commerce store, and his webinar just kills it. And we have done 16 hours of consulting at this point at my incredibly expensive rate that I charge. And we're always finding ways to improve it. And we're always maximizing and doing additional things around it. I got to a point where I told him, I'm like, you need to start doing challenges because I don't think we can make the webinar any better. So we put challenges off and on. But the challenge is the same strategy, just a webinar. It's just a different little format. And then, I'm doing the consult with Iman tomorrow to try to beat our record that we set earlier this year for our launch coming up in October. Thursday, I do a consult that teaches essentially Chinese energy techniques. And they put on, I think, like 5,000 people each time that they launch this thing. So we're working through a series of strategies to optimize that webinar. I just see this everywhere I go. It's incredible. What separates those that are winning versus those that are not is having a message that can articulate a big insight that the market desperately needs and then attaches an offer to extend that insight as far as possible if they're willing to invest. And if you had to bumper sticker what a webinar is, that's exactly what it is. And man, I'm living it. I'm doing it every day almost. I'm working with clients at the highest level, at the biggest dollar figures. And I get to take what I learn, apply it in their businesses, and distill that down and hand it to you. 1 hour of my time, this is 100% compliant. I charge $3,500 for an hour. That's what I charge. Soon to be increasing because I can't keep up with demand right now. So 1 hour of my time is a larger investment than the total investment that you get for everything for Webinar Mastery Academy. Crazy, huh?
Mic drop. That's about all it takes. Wow. Epic. Epic, epic. And on the same note, I will say this. I pretty much never do hourly consulting.
Yeah, you're smarter than
Personally
I
don't
am,
have
by
it
the
done
way,
with
Anik.
everything I'm running.
I don't do it because
No,
it's
I
a
think it's
smart business
brilliant.
decision. I do it because it's intellectually stimulating. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, what I was gonna say is, so when I do get a client, and I'm interested in helping them, and for me, it's almost always on the funnel. So I'll always be helping someone plan a launch or a monthly activation campaign or their evergreen funnel with the back end and everything. And I pretty much always say, hey, it's a full day. You got to come for the day, and it's 30K.
Yeah.
Which again I can say is fully compliant too, because multiple people have transacted at that. And it's funny because sometimes when I get those requests and I give that amount, and then they're like, okay, and I'm like, oh dang it, like, all right, now I
True.
got to do this for the day.
Yeah.
Which is, but you're right, it's always intellectually stimulating because they bring new challenges, new problems that you get to help them solve. But I think what I want to share with everybody here is you're getting two people that charge thousands an hour. And quite frankly, I think I could say this: if you just reached out to Jason directly right now and tried to schedule with him, it would be very difficult because he's already got a list of clientele that book him again and again, and they obviously get priority. And with
Yep.
me, at least for the next coming up 3 to 4 months, I don't have any time with the company that I'm in the middle of launching. And so that's the other thing to share here, is that not only is it incredibly expensive, um, but uh, it's
We
not
have to,
available.
just for JS's question, I want to answer that real quick on it. We have to say that because you would not believe it, but 99% of people who say I bill out at $3,000 an hour are lying to you. They don't. They just
Yeah.
say that. They make a number up, and that is non compliant. So, unfortunately, we have to emphasize the fact that it is compliant just to juxtapose the shenanigans that still occur in 2025 in this market. And by the way, those marketers are wondering why they're struggling, why we're succeeding. Because if you have to rely on smoke and mirrors to get by, not a good idea. No matter what, no matter whether you can or can't, you shouldn't do it. It's just not a good idea. It doesn't work, doesn't serve you long term. It doesn't help you to develop the skills that are necessary to serve the markets that you want to serve. So there's that for you.